Okay. Yeah, Michael Irvin's got to be close to 60. I mean, I think 87 was the last year he played for the U. So he's about 37 plus years removed from college. So
here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on the first football Friday of 2026.
Football Friday.
And a belated Happy New Year. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. A belated Happy New Year to you too, my friend. Good morning. How are you?
Right back at you. Happy New Year. Is it New Year's yet where you are? Is the time change far enough along that it's actually January where you are?
I know what day it is, what city I'm in. I got 5 consecutive hours of sleep last night after a spectacular Sugar Bowl. Yes, it is 2026 here in Palo Alto, which is not too far away from Santa Clara, which is where the Seahawks and the Niners will get it on tomorrow night. That's why I'm here. 3rd game this week.
Busy week, but a lot of great games. You even got a good Sun Bowl for crying out loud, and it looked like it was very fun. It was a great send-off for Gary Danielson.
Yep, it was awesome. It was, and we had a good time on air and a good time off, and yeah, don't know how many people watched.
To you as well. It's a hell of a run. It really is. I mean, I know Gary's done, but with Gary being done, you are done on Saturdays. At least you say you are. You could still be brought back in, but nope. Congratulations on a hell of a run.
Think about it. You and I had just teamed up to start Miller and Moulton. We started July 24th of 2006. And the first game that Gary did for CBS, and I had a 1-game tryout. I mean, if it went okay, I'd get the year, but I was only guaranteed Saturday night, 3rd Saturday in September, Knoxville, Tennessee, the Gators and the Vols, and prime time. CBS used their one primetime game on Florida, Tennessee. You remember when that was the biggest game in the SEC? That's how long ago this run's been. Florida, Tennessee was the game of the year in the SEC. Yeah. That's how long ago this sucker was.
But a great Great send-off for Gary. No doubt there. That was, I will admit, I did not watch a second of it live, David. I have made one commitment to you in all these years that we've been doing games. I don't watch the Sun Bowl.
I get it. It was very fun, though. And guy scored the game-winning touchdown and jumped into a bowl of cereal. Kind of, it was the Sun Bowl's version of the Lambeau Leap. You ran over and you jumped into the bowl of cereal. It was kind of fun.
Absolutely. But yesterday and New Year's Eve day provided us with two really good games, two duds, and, well, at least one team that had a bunch of time off is moving on. Everyone else with a bye, well, bye-bye would be the best way to say it.
Yes. Right now, the teams with the byes are 1-7.
1-7.
Right.
If there is anything that's going to get us to either 16 teams or the second round games being at home, I think this is what's going to do it.
I don't think there's any question about it. Also, the closeness of the games has not been what I think the College Football Playoff Committee would have expected and certainly would have wanted. All right. There have been a lot of blowouts. And I do think everybody who jumped on James Madison and Tulane needs to realize you don't have to apologize. Okay. But you need to realize that, you know what? We got the Power 4 schools going at one another, and we got some butt whoopings too. I mean, who played Oregon tougher? James Madison, who was shorthanded, by the way, in that game, or Texas Tech? I mean, Texas Tech barely had 200 yards of offense.
Right, but Texas Tech also, come on now. They were that defense. Texas Tech had a defense that could play with Oregon. They just didn't have an offense. I don't think there was really a unit. James Madison had a couple of drives across 50 and things like that, but I think it's easy to say. But it's really the next game because Alabama, Alabama got goat rodeoed yesterday.
Yes, they did.
I didn't realize, and I won't get into it for a lot of reasons, but for a long time, but I didn't realize you can see Alabama fatigue in my living room. My wife, hates the Crimson Tide.
Oh, my goodness.
She was so happy watching Indiana pummel them. She thought it was just spectacular. Really? Every time they scored, she enjoyed it more. I couldn't believe it. And there's no reason that, she went to Colorado State, for crying out loud. There's nothing about Alabama that draws animosity other than they've been good for so long and she's sick of them. That's it.
Wow.
So
interesting.
I found that funny. But boy, oh boy, Indiana was terrific. Oregon was terrific. Miami and Ohio State gave us a great game, and Miami just played so damn tough. They just controlled the lines of scrimmage, and
Mark.
I guess they kind of, what they were, because the way Mario answered all the questions, David, they played the way he answered. Short, mean, angry, and they got it done.
Mark, for the first time in 23 years, do you know what they look like?
The U.
Yep. They played like the Canes played for 20 years back in the day. From 83 through 02, that's what you had to deal with. And they did a lot more talking back in the day than they did a couple nights ago. But that's what the rest of the country had to deal with. That type of speed, that type of toughness. Whoo! And I know Mario doesn't want to hear it. Sorry, boss. The Canes are back. The Canes are back. This is so good for college football. Oh, I mean, one of the three Florida schools has got to be back, right? Come on now. Oh, man. I'm sorry. I have nothing against the Buckeyes. I love the helmet. Okay. I actually like Ryan Day. I love the way they play. But as that game was going on, I'm like, oh my goodness, I have waited so long for that school to look like this. Oh no, is this happening? Is this really happening? Oh man.
And I guess I thought, is this really happening? But I thought, are they going to blow this because they allowed Ohio State to stay in it? I mean, they could have had a bigger lead by the end of the first half, and you wondered, come on. If you've watched Miami football for the past, 20-some years, you were sitting there watching the game waiting for them to figure out a way to screw it up. I'm sorry. If you weren't thinking that way, then you haven't watched the Canes play the last 2 decades.
Well, there were two things. First off, they left points on the field in the first half. There's no doubt. They were right on the edge or inside field goal range a couple times and didn't get points out of it to make it a 17 or 20-0 or 21-0 first half lead. So you're right. Ohio State was just close enough. And Mark, you and I were texting back and forth. I mean, first off, when's the last time you watched a game at any level that had no penalties going to the fourth quarter and no one was complaining about anything? Just line it up, play it, and do it again. The announcers weren't complaining about a missed call. The players weren't complaining about a missed call. Coaches, nope. We're just playing, boys. And it's 17-14, early fourth. It's like, I'll be damned. So you and I are texting going, well, you know the penalty's coming.
Hell, I put a poll question out. So, and I mean, it was weird. We could talk about that game the whole show if we wanted to, and obviously there's plenty to get to. There's an NFL weekend coming with playoff spots on the line for one game, seeding on the line for another game. We'll see if Tampa, Carolina even matters. But when you looked at the Canes and Ohio State early in the second half, the Canes defense looked tired, and I'm like, what the hell? 29 plays in the first half for Ohio State. What are they tired about? What has them tired? And the defense looked fatigued. And I'm like, oh, boy, this isn't good. But they found their wind. Don't know if it was a case of being too hyped up in the first half because those DNs, the ones, that have too short of arms to play on Sunday, yes. He was in the backfield every damn play. And they were in the backfield every damn play.
Do you think what they mean by too short of arms on Reuben Bain is that after he gets the sack, when he does his imaginary push-ups, his arms just look as if they can't fully extend? Is that where we think the shortness of the arms is going to come in? Because it doesn't seem to come into play once the ball is snapped.
No doubt.
Too short of arms. You got to be
no doubt. But a terrific game. And
by the way, Mark, the 4 teams left are seeded 1, 5, 6, and 10.
No, yeah, you mentioned it already. How are the teams with the bye doing so far through 2 years of this playoff?
1-7.
1-7.
Although the one played really well. Once again, the whole rest of the sports looking at this Signetti guy who's looking at them going, this isn't that hard. I don't know what your guy's problem is.
At Indiana, the Indiana Hoosiers blew out Alabama, and a quarterback who was playing D2 just led Ole Miss to the semifinal. Miller and Moulton. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for
This is Miller and Moulton.
See, I disagree with you, John Bettman. I actually think that the Bama loss was so embarrassing, okay, that now I don't want to say they'll be looked at as just any other team, but I don't think they'll get the favoritism that they. You got to remember last year.
John, I got to ask you with that comment, are you a Notre Dame fan? Because that's what that comment screams to me. And if you're not, then I'm wrong. But that screams I'm a Notre Dame fan, and I'm still bitching about Notre Dame not getting in. That's what that comment looks like to me. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong.
But also, remember, Bama was first team out last year.
By the way, that's a 30-year-old sweatshirt right there.
There we go.
No. I'm sorry. That's older than that. That's from 1990. It's the
Wow.
oldest piece of clothing I have. It's when I lived on Marco Island when I took a semester off of college. One of the guys I hung out with was doing the same thing as I was, taking a semester off from the U. And he went back for a week. And I said, I need a gray sweatshirt. I need a gray cane sweatshirt from the bookstore.
I was going to say, was that from The Rock?
That's 1990 on The Rock. I am not happy right now. Talk to Tig. I got a new computer. I should be able to log on to this thing, but there's no password. It just gives you the prompt. You know what it's giving me? A
Password.
That's when I don't care about sending engineers texts at 6 a.m. Don't tell me one thing and have it not be that. Well, then I don't know where your comment's coming from, John. Alabama got blown out, so the committee's going to look for. I mean, that's just being really cynical. And I get it. That's we bring that on. We're snarky too, but it's hard to read snark into your text. I don't know if you're being snarky or, quite frankly, stupid. There's just no. We don't know, because sarcasm doesn't come across text, and sometimes I think you guys in the text room are extremely negative.
I think you're just being snarky.
Yeah, but how do I, there's no snark font.
Maybe that's what we should create. Maybe that's where our money is. What's a snark emoji? That's what we got to come up with. Yeah, portal opens today.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. A belated Happy New Year to you. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. College football quarterfinals have come and gone. Final weekend of the NFL regular season is upon us, beginning tomorrow. There's a few other things going on as well. So, how much more regard, respect, kind adjective descriptions, how much more love can we give what is taking place in Bloomington, Indiana with their football program? I'm 60. You're in your mid-50s. Okay? I'll argue nothing like this has happened in the NFL or major college football in our lifetimes.
I can't take an opposing side. I said earlier this year on this show that he's the best hire of the century. And people could have taken and put Kirby Smart in my face, because Kirby went to Georgia and got them what they've wanted since the 80s. But the difference is Georgia's always been good. They had some down years. The Jim Donnan years come to mind as some down years. But
they won 7-8 games.
Right, but they were going to bowl games. They were competitive throughout the Mark Richt era. They were good, just not good enough for the Georgia fan. Indiana has been and always was a football grease fire. It was a win. It was the team you scheduled when you had homecoming. That's who they were.
They were the worst major college football program in the history of the sport 2 years ago. Okay. The only thing that to me is in the ballpark, and it happened recently. Do you remember when the Bucs got Brady? And we said, before he took a snap, before he put on the team colors, we said, hey, to give you an idea as to how shocking this is, he is regarded as the greatest winner as a player in the history of this sport. Do you know which professional team in the 4 major sports has the all-time worst winning percentage? And it wasn't the Kings, it wasn't the Clippers, it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Before Tom Brady signed with them, they had the worst winning percentage of the 120 professional teams in the 4 major sports. And then obviously look what happened with Brady, et cetera, et cetera. That's what's going on in Indiana. This is remarkable. And how many of us, after what they did last year, were patting them on the head? That was cute. That was fun. Okay, but, that was largely, kind of fluky. The schedule was soft, and when they played 2 grown-up teams, they got their butts kicked. That'll never happen again.
It happened, David, again and again and again. Because first, they went to Oregon, where, in fact, a friend of ours was texting us the moment the game was on the docket. It was like a week away. Oregon by 200 were some of the texts we were getting. And they beat the Ducks at their place. And
they'd only lost one other home game this decade, by the way.
Then they went into Penn State, but Penn State was a grease fire this year, so they didn't get the credit for that
Right.
maybe they deserved. Then their last 2 wins, everybody. This is Indiana,
Football. Lost
and it's
sport is
football.
Right.
They now have back-to-back wins against the Ohio State University and Alabama.
And neither one of them on their home field.
And they took Alabama to the woodshed.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, they destroyed the Crimson Tide. And what, to me, the interesting part about this, David, leave the football aside for a minute, because we can get into X's and O's later if you want. Obviously, we all know that Cignetti can just flat out coach. I mean, there's just no doubt how great of a hire this has been. But he's not warm and fuzzy.
No.
In fact, he's prickly.
Yeah. Rub some
He
people
just
the wrong
is.
way. Yeah.
And he goes out of his way to be a bit brash.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
that's who he is.
Hey,
And
you're
I
good.
don't begrudge any of this, by the way. If anybody thinks that I do, you don't know me well enough. He is in your face. I'm better than you.
Right. It's
He's
like,
in
hey,
Indiana doing that.
right. Right.
So they're not lovable. Now, their quarterback is. I mean, that speech he gave at the Heisman, everything about this kid, he seems to be a wonderful young man.
Oh, my goodness. You want him to marry your daughter.
Bingo.
Like,
I mean, he's that
this
guy.
kid's remarkable. Yeah.
And thank goodness they have one of those, because every time they put a microphone in front of the coach, you're going, what in the hell?
I just love the fact that the reporters are all, whenever they get the one-on-one and they're trying to say, you guys are really, you're really good. And he'll go, oh, no, I'm better than that.
But again, Ohio State and Alabama are their last 2 wins. Really good game with the Buckeyes, and they blew out Alabama.
First off, Alabama hasn't been blown out this century in a game. Seriously, they have not been blown out in a football game this century until yesterday. Number one. Number two, do you know how many times Indiana threw the ball yesterday? They ran 66 plays. Do you know how many times they threw the ball? 16. They blew out Alabama by doing what Alabama has done to about 75 teams this century so far. They just lined up and shoved it right up them.
For 60 minutes, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's outside of the first series of the game, okay, where it looked like, oh, the team with the bye had rust. Yeah, they had rust for a series. And then they destroyed them.
Destroyed them. And I'm just going to say it again because I'm not doing it for all of you listening. It's Indiana and it's football.
Right.
You know,
Right.
It is remarkable.
God, Bobby Knight would have loved this guy. They would
Oh,
have been-
my goodness.
They would have been best buds.
Oh,
It
my
would have been
goodness, would he have loved him.
It would have been awesome.
And obviously, you look at his history and where he's come from. Yeah, he's won everywhere, but he didn't coach anywhere, if you know what I mean.
Right? It's his first major gig. You know, and he wasn't winning a ton of championships elsewhere. You know, longtime listener of our show in the Twitch chat room, Robes, he points out Signetti went 0-2 against North Dakota State. I mean, he won.
Everybody went 0-2 against North Dakota State at that level, okay?
But
I mean, they were the Alabama of that classification.
Well, just saying, though. I mean, he won, but it's not like he's won championships, and he's 2 games away from winning a championship. And Mark and I will say it again. At Indiana.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real. The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hey, Puck, can you do me a favor? Can we just leave politics out of the chat? I know it's a chat, it's your guys' chat. We try very hard to be a political free zone.
I mean, come on now. First off, look, you can knock the Ryan Day play calling. There's no doubt he did not do a good job in the first half. They did not look good. But don't give me the tough schedule thing. They opened with Texas, for crying out loud.
I was going to say, Last year was when they played the 3 cupcakes and they won the Natty. No, I get it, Puck. I get it. I do. It's just, there's others, just he's just so polarizing. It's
David, you will be very proud of this. I think it was Tuesday, the day I didn't work. But the daughter got up and for breakfast, because we had to leave early, so she had to make herself breakfast.
okay.
Actually, I guess she did it with my wife there too. So no, it was just she made her own breakfast, spaghetti and meatballs. I thought of you.
Oh my goodness. I didn't think it was possible for her stock to go up. What a wonderful young woman.
And announced it the night before we had it for dinner. She goes, I'm having this for breakfast tomorrow. Like,
yes. I mean, I've already vowed to work to get her to college, but now this keeps up. My goodness. Oh, that just warms the heart, Mark.
boy, do I need the Atlanta Falcons to win. And I know Buck fan doesn't want to hear that, but I need that. I mean, we would be on a roll with unders or over-unders. Our baseball ones were all right. Our football ones have all been solid.
I know, to think we may lose an over-under because a 2-10 team wins out.
Right.
Golly. I have not seen an opening line, by the way, from Miami and Ole Miss. Has anybody? I've seen one for Oregon IU. It's right around 4.
It's 4.5, I believe, but
Well, I've seen it both.
give me a moment, David. Two and a half. Miami is favored by 2.5. Indiana's down to 3.5 for what it's worth. And we're back in 6 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. A belated Happy New Year. Welcome to 2026. We have an Olympic Games in about 6 weeks. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Well, I say we do it the way we've been doing it for a handful of years now. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
And I'll even do it, Mark. I'll even do it. The starting five brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community through BST. That doesn't change with the new year. It's still BST, okay? Business, sports, and tourism.
For those of you not taking the show in on Twitch and YouTube, what David was telling me he'll do is put the banner on the bottom. Mr. Technology thinks he has it all figured out now. And if you would have seen the you-know-what eating grin on his face when he did it, he's proud of himself right now. You go get him, big boy.
It's not that I think I, am the It's that great. I went from knowing how to do 2 things, and now I know how to do 4.
We'll get
And
you there,
so-
David.
I'm like the 6-year-old who just learned how to, something in class. And it's like, no, Mom, I'll do it. Okay, son. College football. Alabama may just choose not to play in the Rose Bowl. It hasn't been going well recently when they've been out west. Clemson destroyed them in a natty. Granted, it wasn't in the Rose Bowl. It was in Santa Clara. Last 2 times they've been in the playoff and they went to the Rose Bowl, they got beat by Michigan a couple years ago. And they didn't get beat by Indiana yesterday. They suffered the worst loss this century. Clinton was president the last time Alabama lost a football game like this. 38-3, Indiana over Alabama. The Tide held to less than 200 yards of offense. Fernando Mendoza only threw the ball 16 times. Now, he completed 14 of them, mind you, for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then Indiana ran the ball 50 times for 215 yards. Yeah, they just lined up. They ripped the soul out of Alabama yesterday. Just lined up and ripped the soul out of them.
I mean, that was the old high school football team that was walking up to the line going, no, we're going to run right here.
Right.
3 power, guys. 3. Do you guys know we're gonna run it right here, okay? Stop us.
That was Nebraska in the 70s, 80s, and 90s under Tom Osborne. That's what that was. Man. They were 9 of 14 on 3rd down was Indiana. Well over 400 yards of offense. 38-3 Indiana to earn a rematch with Oregon. It'll happen a week from tonight in Atlanta. Mark, I didn't realize you won the Rose Bowl to go play in the Peach Bowl. Just kidding. Oregon humiliated Texas Tech, forcing 4 turnovers, holding them to 215 yards of offense, and slowly and methodically beating the Red Raiders 23-0. So it's an all Big Ten semifinal a week from tonight in Atlanta, where Indiana is roughly a 4-point favorite. It opened at 4, went to 4.5. Then it went back to 4. Some places this morning, it may even be as low as 3.5. But a rematch of Indiana's 30-20 regular season win in Eugene. They'll meet in the semis next Friday night. Meanwhile, when Miami won New Year's Eve evening in Dallas, they and most of us assumed they'd be playing Georgia in the semis.
At halftime of the Sugar Bowl, most of us assumed they were going to play Georgia in the semis.
And that's because Georgia led Ole Miss 21-12. And then Ole Miss said, hold my beer, and outscored Georgia 22-3 to have a 34-24 lead with 9 minutes to go. By the way, what was Kirby Smart doing with 10 minutes to go in the game, down 3, going for it on 4th and 2 from his own 33? No, seriously, there's 10 minutes to go. You're down 3. I get it. Yeah, they're scoring points. I get it. You need one stop. Hell, you need to hold them to a field goal. You can win the game. There's still 10 minutes to play. There wasn't 2 minutes to play. What is he doing going for it? 4th and 2 on your own 33. Down 3?
David, how did they beat them the first time? They stopped them when? In the fourth quarter.
So anyway, so he goes for it. They get stopped. Ole Miss is a short field. They score an easy touchdown. But Georgia, then what happens? They score a touchdown. They get the stop, albeit thanks to the officials. How did they miss that call? It's 34-31 Ole Miss. 2nd and 5 on the 30. Ole Miss handed it off the running back. The running back decides to break it to the outside. And the Georgia player grabs him by his face mask, turns his head 180 degrees.
And the referee is directly behind the runner.
And turns his head 180 degrees and basically tackled him by the face mask for a 2-yard loss. I didn't see nothing. Oh, boy. I think at that moment, everybody was like, oh, come on. Ole Miss needs to win to right this wrong. Anyway, Georgia tied it with under a minute to go with a field goal. And Ole Miss said, oh, that's enough time. What's Georgia doing playing all-out man? I mean, Ole Miss has no timeouts left. There's under 40 seconds to go in the game. And they need 30 yards to get in field goal range. What are you doing going all-out man? You haven't covered these guys all night. What, you're going to cover them now in man-to-man? They put their best receiver against your slot corner, and hey, surprise, surprise, he's wide open. And Lucas Canero ends up kicking a 47-yard field goal with 6 seconds to go. Ole Miss adds a safety on the final play of the game, and they win at 39-34. This Trinidad Chambliss guy, Mark, is quarterback for Ole Miss.
You mean the Ferris State Bulldog? Is that who you're talking about? The Ferris State Bulldog from Forest Hills Northern and GR? Yeah, how about that?
To think that D2 defenses were seeing this guy play last year. He threw for 362 and 2 touchdowns against Georgia in a dome. Ole Miss in the semis, where they'll face Miami Thursday night in Arizona in the Fiesta Bowl. Miami is listed as a 2.5-point favorite. By the way, did anybody late in the game while there was a stoppage and the officials were looking at something, did anybody hear the chant that was going up in the Superdome? You know, F. Lane Kiffin. F. Lane Kiffin.
You can say it all you want, but see, part of Lane's new contract is he gets the same bonuses for winning. Lane gets the same bonuses for Ole Miss winning that he would have been receiving if he were still the head coach for Ole Miss. So say what you will, Lane's laughing all the way to the bank.
And you know what? Maybe the committee was right about something after all. Lane Kiffin left, and the committee didn't penalize Ole Miss at all. Pete Golding with 2 wins as Ole Miss coach. They may build a statue for him in about 3 weeks in Oxford. One other college football note, the transfer portal officially opens today. There's 3,500 kids that are already in it. Unbelievable. NFL, Troy Aikman is going to be part of a 3-man advisory group. Dan Marino's one of the other 3. That's going to help.
And you're the third one? How's this work?
I am not. Okay. I have an official no comment. Anyway, Aikman, Marino, and one other guy are going to help Stephen Ross select a new general manager. And he then apparently will decide the fate of Mike McDaniel, although Stephen Ross wants to keep him. That's out there. The Tampa Bay Bucks are going to be without cornerback Jamel Dean, linebacker Anthony Nelson for their showdown with Carolina tomorrow. Kalijah Cansey got hurt early in the season. It is possible he's back in action tomorrow. The defense could use him. By the way, Gene Deckerhoff, 37 seasons as the voice of the Bucks. announced this will be his last year. The 80-year-old stepping away. He did so from Florida State 3 seasons ago. Tampa Bay not only needs to beat Carolina, but they need the Saints to beat the Falcons on Sunday. New Orleans is going to have to do it without wide receiver Chris Olave. They discovered a blood clot in his lung. Yeah, that's pretty serious. So needless to say, he ain't playing Sunday. Lamar Jackson will play Sunday night at Pittsburgh. Jordan Love is out of the concussion protocol, but he will not play Sunday against Minnesota. You know who may play Sunday against Minnesota is cornerback Trayvon Diggs, cut by the Cowboys earlier in the week, claimed on waivers Wednesday by the Packers, and he may play. College hoops, Jacksonville and North Florida and FGCU all lost their ASUN openers. Women's action 2026 started with a bunch of upsets. Unbeaten 5th-ranked LSU got beat on a 3 at the buzzer by Kentucky in Baton Rouge, 80-78. 6th-ranked Michigan got whacked at Washington, 64-52. Notre Dame lost at Georgia Tech in overtime. And Maryland, 7th-ranked and unbeaten, not anymore. They suffered their first loss at Illinois. NBA, 5 games to talk about. Norman Powell with 36 for the Heat. They went into Motown, beat Mark's Pistons, 118-112. Tyrese Maxey with 34. Sixers beat Dallas, 123-108. KD returned to Brooklyn, had 22 points, 11 assists. Rockets all over the Nets, 120-96. The Celtics and the Kings were tied going to the 4th. Boston said, we'll take it from here. They ended up winning by 14, 120-106. And remember how lousy the Clippers were? They've won 6 in a row. Don't get me wrong, they're still out of the playoffs, but they're only a game and a half out of the play-in.
And remember, this year, the West has not been what it normally has been. The bottom end of the West, not very good, so it doesn't take much to get yourself right back into a playoff spot.
The Clippers are a whopping 12-21 on the season and only a game and a half out of the play-in. They beat Utah by 17. Hockey, 8 games to tell you about. Lightning were trailing 3-2 with under 4 minutes to play, ended up scoring 3 goals to win it 5-3. Their 6th straight win for John Cooper in Tampa Bay. Ottawa got the game-winning goal with less than 2.5 minutes to go. They beat the Caps 4-3. Stamkos didn't do it last night, but over the holiday, the Stammer, with his 600th career goal, he's the 22nd player to score 600 or more career goals.
And you can get him if you want him between now and the deadline from everything I'm seeing, that he's someone that very well could be traded to a contender between now and the NHL trade deadline.
He turns 36 next month. He makes $8 million a year, which in hockey is a lot of money. Seattle beat Nashville last night 4-1. Utah got a hat trick from Dylan Gunther in a 7-2 win over the Islanders. Austin Matthews with a hat trick in Toronto's 6-5 win over Winnipeg. Chris Letang had the game-winning goal. He played in his 1,200th career game last night. That's 15 seasons of playing every night. That's how much hockey that is. Pittsburgh 4-3 in overtime over the Wings. Montreal 7-5 over Carolina. And the Stars have lost 4 in a row. The Hawks beat them in Chicago 4-3. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories you needed to know here on Miller and Moulton, brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community through BST, business, sports, and tourism.
Look at you. Now we got to figure out if you can keep talking while you turn the banner off, because there was a pause there as you were. That's the key, David.
No, I understand.
Be able to keep it going. Yeah, you could have let it go right till the break, but I appreciate your diligence with BST. Pat Kirwan an hour from now. JP Shadrick 2 hours from now. Happy New Year, Miller and Moulton. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell them Miller and Moulton sent you.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With the newest slots, action-packed table games, sports betting, the hottest entertainment, and a variety of award-winning restaurants. Expect more with live craps, roulette, and blackjack 24/7. And over 1,400 of the most popular slot machines. This is the place where paradise never ends. This is Seminole Casino Hotel. Minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
It's just so weird to set your alarm clock for 2:20 in the morning. Once it goes off, it's, normal, but DC, we could almost make that the poll question. Okay. Once I get the job with the Dolphins, what job does Mark want? VP of marketing for the Dolphins or chairman of the Orange Bowl? It'd be chairman of the Orange Bowl. You don't have to do any work. You have to do a couple weeks of work. You got to push late ticket sales.
David, little shop talk here, quick. Sorry to interrupt. Did you say you edited the Google Doc that I gave you, or you?
Yeah.
Why did you find something to be wrong on there?
No. I just took stuff out that I figured you wouldn't want on there. I just cleaned it up so you wouldn't have to bounce around.
Huh. Took out the picture of the moon.
I didn't mean to do that.
I mean, all right. I want everybody to listen to this and listen closely.
I didn't know why you sent it to me.
Because while I'm going to be gone,
gotcha.
I want to be able to do it. I wanted to be able to see if you could see it that way.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want you to edit it. No one asked you to edit it. Don't touch my damn it
stuff. Sorry, Dad. I thought I was helping.
Unbelievable. The guy puts a banner up one time, thinks he can run the technological side of the show.
I do not. No, I do not. I do not.
Funny.
Gotta remember, though, I did all that copy all those years. I can edit.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
First one of 2026. Thanks so much for being with us. By the way, next hour, we're going to talk hockey for a few minutes because the Winter Classic, they're going to try to pull that sucker off tonight in Miami. There. Hockey in January in Miami.
Yeah, that's what you're going to talk to him about. But between now and then, and I don't know exactly what time they're doing it, because the Canadians put their Olympic team out yesterday.
Right.
Or the day before, Wednesday, I guess they put it out. This week is just screwing me with what day of the week it is. I have no idea which way is up right now. Can I get today over? I mean, at least I'm yelling Football Friday. Other than that, I am lost, people. Just a mess. Couple of days off. I had to take another one. I don't know which way's up. But the Canadians already released their Olympic team.
Correct.
The U.S. team had to submit their roster on Wednesday.
Correct.
They are releasing the names today on the Today Show. Because when you think Olympic hockey, you think Today Show. I actually think it's a big win I'm not joking. I think it's a big win for the U.S. hockey team to actually have this being done on a show where no one really cares about hockey but USA.
NBC, of course, carrying the Olympics. Therefore, the announcement being made on NBC's Today Show. So, yes, win for hockey, plus hockey gets to promote tonight on Turner. Hey, the Winter Classic, why don't you check it out?
Right. So that I'm very interested in what Wyshinski thinks regarding who's going to get snubbed, because there's some decisions, and you got to be a hockey nerd to get into this. But there were some snub. Connor Bedard snubbed.
Adam Fox apparently snubbed.
Right. The Snyder kid from the Islanders.
Right. Yeah.
who is going to be a star,
Right.
might already be one.
Right, but the
But-
thought was, do you put the teenagers now, do you put the teens on the Olympic team now, or will their first Olympic team be in their early 20s 4 years from now? And it seems as if they're going to make the kids wait. But the kids are really good now. But
So
We
that's
digress.
two hockey guys giving you that's coming up.
Right.
Plus Pat Kirwan. Don't worry.
Yep.
Don't worry. 2 segments with Pat.
Yep. So don't worry. We'll talk week 18 of the NFL. And remember, Black Monday's coming up 72 hours from now. People getting fired. There's going to be a lot of them too. Okay. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to put the over under at 7.5. And it won't happen immediately. But I will go over on the number of firings. That's how many firings I think we're going to end up with. I think we're going to end up with 8 or 9.
Well, so you're already counting the 2, obviously.
right.
No. I'm just
But still, that's
not
a
8.
big number.
No. I'm with you. Just clarifying. That's all.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep.
Pump the brakes over there.
Giants and Titans will be hiring new coaches, so that counts. But I think the number is going to end up big. I think guys who have won Coach of the Year are going to get fired.
All right, can I talk to you? We already did a little bit last hour about the great send-off that Gary Danielson had with CBS. If you haven't seen it, I've reposted it. I don't think David's vain enough to repost it, although he should have, because Gary was very nice about his 20 years with David during his sign-off. But that was, for lack of a better term, was very cool. And knowing Gary and obviously working with you was just proud to watch it. But for you personally, had to be a really nice moment. Not as nice, in my opinion, as either when you saw the news or when Troy told you himself that he was selected to help name the Dolphins general manager. For those of you that don't know, and I don't know how you could listen to this show and not know, but David not only has been Gary Danielson's right hand for 20 years with CBS Sports, has now been working with Troy for 8?
8. Right.
8 years, the number that Troy wore. 8 beer, number 8, 8 years. And now Troy Aikman is on a very selective committee that will help Stephen Ross choose the new general manager of the Miami Dolphins.
The reason, by the way, Troy is on it is that obviously Dan Marino has been there for a while. And the third member is a business guy. And he is going to remain an integral part of the organization. So Stephen Ross wanted an outsider, somebody who he respected, somebody who had had success in football. And so he chose Troy. So Troy will be the outsider on the committee and may bring up some people that the Dolphins might not have otherwise brought up and bring up some views that might not otherwise have been brought up in the room.
So, David, if you will indulge me, and if you can't answer this, and if I'm putting you on the spot too much,
No.
I apologize in advance.
Troy has discussed none of this. Was a surprise to me as it was everyone
Okay,
else.
so you found this out by reading it, not you
Correct.
didn't know until you read it.
Correct. He did not
All right.
discuss this with me at all.
You and Troy are obviously very close. Did you, when you saw the news, text him?
No. Nope.
So you have not acknowledged this, I guess, hire's too strong of a word, but this appointment. You
Nope.
have not acknowledged this appointment with
Nope.
the appointee yet.
Mark, I am playing this so cool. In fact, I sent him 2 things yesterday. They were both research about the game that he's broadcasting tomorrow night. I've sent him absolutely nothing. I didn't even send him a Happy New Year, all right, text. No, I'm playing this as cool, as distant as, hey, your business is your business. You know why, Mark? I know what room he's staying at in this hotel. I'm going to be in a production meeting with him tomorrow morning. I'm going to be in the booth with him for 6 hours tomorrow night.
I'm aware, and I guess my question becomes at what and I'll give you a little behind the scenes. With Gary for all of those years, and David's told this, I'm not selling any secrets. If you've listened to the show, you're aware. David had blue index cards that he would write observations or whatever it is that he and Gary had worked out before the game that David's responsibility was, if you will. Among the regular things that David did for Gary. But David would write those down and put them in front of Gary. Gary would either use those statements, facts, whatever, or choose not to. If he really didn't like it, he would throw the card.
Correct.
No, that's it. Those are the basic three things that happened.
Right. Playfully, he would look at me, make eye contact, take a look down at the card, like, really? And then just helicopter it somewhere. He did it playfully.
With Troy, David is actually in his ear. David can speak directly to Troy during the broadcast. So Troy not only has Joe doing play-by-play, a director telling him what replays that are coming, a producer that he can hear, he also has David. So, I mean, to think of the job that Troy does with 4 voices coming at him, it's pretty incredible, to be brutally honest with you, how hard that is. I don't think people have any idea what goes on in a broadcast of that level. But again, the key point that I made there is that David is talking into his ear.
Uh-huh.
Now, at what point, David, will you remind Troy that you do a radio show in Florida and have been talking about who the new GM would be, who the new coach should be, or any other matters pertaining to the team that you have the most affinity for outside of your New York Giants?
Whatever moment I can get where there's not too many people around and I can look him in the eye. And remember, he's 6'4" and I'm 5'10". So it's not exactly an intimidating look in the eye from me to him. And I can look him in the eye and go, so when do I get my 5 minutes? I only need 5. In fact, if you want, I'll condense it to 3. It's all I need. I go, I've been watching them a lot more up close than you for a quarter century. 3 minutes.
I don't know if I ever have gasped and laughed harder than when I saw the news yesterday. I don't know, because come on, David is has achieved far greater success in our sports media world than I have, just by working with Troy and Gary. Great jobs. I love the fact that David's been able to do this and work the biggest games on the biggest stages. It obviously helps our show, but for David and I, who both wanted to do play-by-play at the highest level, the way I would put it, it's just really cool to me that David gets to do that. But any of you now know that our play-by-play days, even though David would keep doing this crap for low-level colleges for the last 15 years for reasons no one can really understand, what has become apparent to anybody that's listened to this show, particularly in the last 10 years, because in the first 8-10 years, I think we both felt we could jump back into play-by-play at any point for any team, and we're both pretty good at it. We are. I think I'm pretty good at hockey. David's really good. Believe it or not, I think David's the best at baseball, but he's good at all the sports. But that ship sailed for both of us. It's a young man's game. We're never getting those gigs, and we're fine with that. But for the last 10 years, if you've listened, and Pat Kirwan, coming up in about 47 minutes, has always said, our resident GM, David Moulton. What has David wanted to do? Be a GM. He knows he could never be an NFL GM, but now a guy who really trusts him, is picking the next GM for who? The Miami Dolphins.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com, capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Troy consider David Sampson? No. Meatballs are great, aren't they? Because they don't reseed, Johnny. It's as simple as that. They don't reseed. I believe their thinking is they wanted to create a quote bracket, kind of like college basketball, and they don't reseed in the brackets either. If a bracket gets blown up, it gets blown up. So,
they're
NBA.
They're going to have to move the ticket. I mean, the Rose Bowl tickets were going for next to nothing. Orange Bowl tickets were going for next to nothing. Don't know about the Sugar Bowl. I didn't look.
By the way, did the Canes fans show up in the Cotton Bowl or what?
Whew. I figured, like those. I thought there'd be a lot of fights. I thought by the Canes winning, I thought there'd be more fights. The World Hockey Association, Michael, a little before your time, and by a little, it's almost before my time.
It was the 70s.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Pat Kirwan in 40 minutes time to talk all things NFL. Greg Wyshinski in about an hour and 15 minutes to talk some hockey. The Winter Classic is tonight. They're going to try to pull it off in Florida. I don't know if this is going to be awesome or an awful idea. We'll see if they pull it off. Rangers and Panthers tonight. TNT, if you're interested. JP Shadrick in a little over an hour and a half. First off, want to talk to the University of Alabama alum, who I believe was at the last game that Alabama got blown out in. And then also
he tries to play off that Alabama alum thing. I don't care. They are not paying me. He gives a lot of those type of flippant statements when you bring up the Alabama alum.
I know he does. I know. And I'm proud of him because, he's a national broadcaster. Westwood One, Touchdown Radio Network, Jags Radio Network. He's beyond that. Fact of the matter is he was born and raised in Alabama and his degrees from the University of Alabama. I mean, that's just a fact. Mark is born and raised in Michigan. His degrees from Michigan State. It's just a fact. So, you can't deny it. But we'll talk Jags and a little bit of Roll Damn Tide with JP Shadrick in about an hour and 40 minutes. A couple of questions about college football, if I may. Although I do want to say, at halftime of the Sugar Bowl last night, I was working on my presentation to Troy about the Dolphins. No joke. Okay? No joke. I was like, okay, listen, you're going to get like a few moments with him about this where he might actually listen to you. All right. Make sure you narrow this sucker down and what have you. So just, so I know you brought it up kind of tongue in cheek.
No, I did not bring it up tongue in cheek. I think, David, I'm surprised you can contain yourself today. This is like a dream come true. You will never, ever from this point forward and any time beyond now have this type of access to a human being who is helping to make a decision that you would do anything to make yourself.
So Troy and I, early on, I would say like year 2 or 3 of my working relationship with him, he was being mentioned as the possibility of being like a team president here or general manager here. And so my thing with him, and I pulled him aside, we were in Houston, and I pulled him aside and I said, can I be in charge of the parking? And he looked at me and I go, that's what I mean, don't get me wrong. I want a job in the front office, but you have too much credibility to give me one. I said, so can I just get a piece of the parking? And he goes, what do you mean by a piece of the parking? I go, oh, I can make a lot of money doing parking. Okay, I'll handle the parking. So that's kind of our running joke. When he runs an organization, I'm going to be in charge of the parking. And if that's true, parking prices are going way down.
Yeah,
way too much money.
You're fired.
But anyway, so college football. Are you okay that they don't reseed?
Yes. I've
like,
always thought that they were trying to do in December and January what they do in March, that they want a bracket. People like brackets.
They do, but this is, it's 12 teams. It may go to 16. I mean, how big of a bracket is it really? I mean, do you think we're going to fill out college football brackets? I'm just curious. I mean, do you? Does anybody have?
I did. I actually read mine on the air. I wanted one from you. It was the day you were gone, and you just gave me your 4 teams. I was like, I was kind of looking for a bracket from you, big fella. And then you had it done, and then you gave it to me. And you have Oregon winning the national championship. You had Oregon beating, I believe,
Oregon beating Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah.
And I had Ohio State beating Oregon. No, that's in the crapper.
Right. I had a Georgia-Ohio State semifinal. So obviously, that side of my bracket looks really good. I did have Indiana-Oregon in the semis, and I thought that would be the national title game. And there's a part of me that still thinks it's the national title game, but could be wrong. So you're okay with them not reseeding?
I'm fine with it.
I am too. I am too. Here's, however, the part that to me is different from last year. Last year, the 4 teams who had byes all lost. But I don't think we went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs about that because, Mark, if you remember, the 4 programs that were left standing were Ohio State, Texas, Notre Dame, and Penn State. I mean, they all kind of qualify, whether their resumes match their, aura, they all fall, if not under the blue bloods category, they're all, in different areas of elite, upper echelon, etc. Now, we got an Ole Miss. We got an Indiana. I mean, Oregon's been to this point of the survey a few times here in the last 15 years. They've played for a couple of natties. It's awesome to have the Canes back at this level. I'm sorry, it just is. For a generation of you who have no idea if they are truly back, get ready for it. The Canes being terrific is awesome for college football. There's no other program that acts, talks, walks, and talks the walk and walks the talk like the Canes. If they are truly back, get ready. It'll be awesome. But I'm just wondering, we have a 1, a 5, a 6, and a 10. We got Indiana. We got Ole Miss.
Okay. I'm not being a jerk here, but what are you getting that you want it reseeded?
Yeah. Well, no, I said I'm okay with the not reseeding. What I'm wondering, though, is the college football fan okay with their sport now looking like the NFL playoffs? This is what happens in an NFL playoff. It happens routinely. And I'm just wondering, are they okay with this happening now in their sport? That this sport on the field and off the field is basically NFL junior. Are they okay with it?
Well, I will see. Text line's open. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. 21,000's the number. You can obviously join us in both the YouTube and Twitch chat room at youtube.com/Miller and Moulton, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. I will say this, because if you reseeded this, obviously Indiana would be playing Miami. They're the 10 seed. The 10 seed's favored over the 6 seed. I mean, the two favorites are the 1 seed and the 10 seed, for what it's worth. So I think based on that, would you rather have an Indiana-Miami semi or an Indiana-Miami final? They're both favored to win. So I would rather, let me just ask you this, David. And I think I know the answer already, and I'll ask the audience as well, obviously, because you've already said you have no problem with them not reseeding this. What do you think we'll get to first? Reseeding in the college football playoff, and let's just say we stay at 12 for a couple more years. No word on whether they're going to get to 16. They still have time to figure that out. Or do you think we'll have the second round being played at home?
I think we'll have the second round being played at home. I do. I think, first off, the quality of these games is not what people want. I mean, only 2 of the 4 were good ones. And we had some duds last year, too. Never mind the financial factor. Mark, it comes down to, once again, the power of the bowls versus, though, the power of the Big Ten and the SEC, who thinks their teams will be the ones that would potentially host these games. And let's face it, Indiana, Georgia, Ohio State all would have had home games in the quarterfinals. What wins out? Petiti and Sankey or the bowls? I think Petiti and Sankey are going to win out on this one in the end. Miller and Moulton.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With real cards and real dealers 24/7. This is the place where the action never ends. Now you can bet on your favorite team, roll the dice on craps, or spin the wheel for roulette. We've got your game. Plus, the Zigzag Girls Blackjack Pit features nonstop excitement and free drinks while you play. This is Seminole Casino Hotel, minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 to play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 233-PLAY-WILD.
This is Miller and Moulton.
For the most part, I'm ignoring Sonny and Michael in their conversation about something that doesn't apply to today at all. But the Colorado Rockies became the New Jersey Devils.
The Quebec Nordiques became the Colorado Avalanche, and the Whalers became the Carolina Hurricanes. Thanks for playing.
So I pull up to the hotel here in Palo Alto, and there's this bus in front of it yesterday. And I'm like, man, that looks like a team bus. Find out it's the Louisville men's basketball team. I'm thinking seriously about going to the Louisville-Stanford college basketball game tonight. It's like 15 minutes from the hotel. It's 5 o'clock local time. I got nothing else to do on a Friday night. I don't know. Thinking about going. See a top 15 team in the country, right?
FGCU lost there last night. Is Central Arkansas any good?
No.
I didn't think so.
No.
You gonna do pick? You want to do picks here?
Yeah.
You got them?
I can do them.
Go knock yourself out. You got a minute and a half.
Our picks are. I'm talking straight up NFL or
no?
Oh, okay.
We'll. I guess we'll do that at 9:15 or whatever. 9:21. I don't know.
Man, there are big spreads this week.
I know. There's 4 bowl games today, just to let you know, David.
I'm aware of that.
Hey, just making
Thank
sure.
you. Thank you.
Trying to help.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till Pat Kirwan joins us at the top of the hour here on Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Pat Kirwan, an hour from now. Greg Wyshinski and JP Shadrick in a little over an hour from now. On this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
The semis are set in college football. Week 18 in the NFL. About to commence tomorrow. And we have 4 more bowl games today and tonight.
Yes, we do, David. And we usually pick our games against the number last segment. But I'm not sure David was aware we were picking games against the number this week because, well, there's not a lot of production that goes into Miller and Moulton.
Well, it's been a busy week for the both of us, particularly off the field.
Yes, very much so. A lot of traveling for David. I've had a bunch of other crap going on. So, well, here's the thing. We had bad weeks last week.
Whoa! Did we have bad weeks?
And by bad weeks, we were a combined 1-9.
Yeah.
And I had battled. I had got my record to 2 games below 500 and crapped out. Will I get back up off the schneid and make a run at this sucker, or will I cannonball into a pool that doesn't have any water in it? David, I'm cannonballing.
I figured you would.
Because you said there are 4 bowl games today.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm picking 3 of them.
Look at you.
And my knowledge of these 3 games is absolutely 0.
Oh, boy.
These are flat out guesses.
It's got degenerate written all over it.
So we'll start with Navy. They're a big favorite against Cincinnati.
They
Cincinnati's quarterback's in the portal. This worked out really well for me with my Pitt ECU pick when ECU upset Pitt despite their quarterback and a couple of coordinators being gone. But I will take Navy, who has no one in the portal, because it's Navy.
I was going to say, it's really tough to get into the portal if you're Army or Navy.
Bingo. So I will take the team intact, and I will lay the 7.5 with Navy against Cincinnati.
That's the Liberty Bowl at 4:30 Eastern on the Four Letter Network.
Tonight in Charlotte, my favorite of the bowl games that are not for substance. You can have your Pop-Tarts and your Cheez-Its and your Tony the Tiger. Give me a tub of mayonnaise. It's the Duke's Mayo Bowl, the superior mayonnaise on the planet. I'll fight you to the death for it. You know what? Screw the SEC. What have they done for us lately?
Well, not much.
I'm taking Wake Forest plus 3.5 against Mississippi State.
By the way, that's a 5-7 Mississippi State who's favored.
And then in the Holiday Bowl, I'm going to take SMU. Close spread, basically a pick 'em, 1.5's the number. Arizona's ranked, SMU isn't. SMU, obviously, we know beat the Canes. I don't know who's in the portal for SMU. I don't. But they pay a lot of money, so I'm guessing less kids there than at most schools. I'll take SMU and lay the 1.5.
That
But
game,
I have-
by the way, 8 Eastern on Big Fox, if you're interested.
All right, 5 NFL games. Unlike my normal self, I have 3 dogs. I'm taking Carolina plus 3 to sweep Tampa Bay. I'm sorry. Tampa's been awful defensively. Awful. I don't know how they get out of this funk. They haven't for the last 2 months. So, particularly with Atlanta beating the Rams last week, that now it doesn't just rely on Tampa Bay winning. They need to win and then have New Orleans beat Atlanta to get into the playoffs. I think Carolina takes care of business. I think they went outright. I'm getting 3 points. I'll take San Francisco because I was the only one 3 weeks talking about San Francisco getting a 1 seed. And everybody laughed at me. They've done everything they've had to do. 1 left. Saturday night, home against Seattle. A virtual pick 'em, 1.5's the number. I'll take the Niners. The Giants love it. And I know David says he's playing with house money, but David wanted the first overall pick. The Giants fans wanted the first overall pick. And the Giants wouldn't beat Vegas. Now they're going to go from having the second pick to having like the 6th or 7th pick. They're beating Dallas on Sunday. I'll take the Giants.
I'm so scared of that happening. I really am.
I know. I'll take the Giants plus 3.5.
Because they're going to play hard.
Yes.
Dart's become the leader of the team, and he's serious about this.
Looks like Lamar's going to play. At least he said so. I have no reason to trust Pittsburgh. I don't. I'm going to take Baltimore and lay the 3.5. And I think New England will pound Miami in New England. 10.5's the number. I'm going to lay it with Drake May and the boys. He may win the damn MVP. Give me New England, lay the 10.5.
So you're going with an Elite 8, are you?
I am.
All right.
I need 6, David. I really need 7, but I'll take 6.
You'll settle for 5. Who are you kidding? I stayed with 5, and I just went NFL. Mark and I are on the same page. We're both taking Carolina in the 3. All right. How can you bet on the Bucs? They've lost 7 of 8. Seriously, how can you? I mean, you could root for them. You could want them. I want them to win. But they're favored, by the way? Seriously? They've lost to New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina, and Miami here in the last month. How are they favored against anybody? So I'll take the 3 with Carolina. We differ. I'm going to take Seattle tomorrow night. Mike McDonald, when he was with Baltimore and so far in Seattle, has done a really good job defending Brock Purdy and the Niners. A really good job. They lost earlier this season. What'd they lose? 17-13, 17-16, something like that. But Seattle, I think they'll defend Purdy and company. And I don't think they get swept. So I'm going to take Seattle and lay the 1.5. Not crazy about the fact they're a road favorite, but they are the 1 seed. So I'll take Seattle. Don't get me wrong. I think Vegas is tanking for the first overall pick. I just don't think Kansas City's playing worth a damn either. And I'm getting 5.5 with the Raiders. I think the Raiders will find a way to lose because I think they're intentionally losing to get the first overall pick. But I actually think they'll cover. I'm taking the Steelers, Mark, because 3.5 is a lot of points in this game. You may be right. Maybe Lamar and company win. I'm not so sure they win by 4 or more. I know Pittsburgh won the first one, and these two almost always split. But I'm going to take the 3.5 at home in Pittsburgh. And I think the Lions will play really hard. I think both the Vikings and the Lions, who are 8-8, are both going to try really hard to finish with winning records. And by the way, how remarkable will that be? We could have an entire division above 500. That's pretty damn good. Doesn't happen every day. But I think the Lions are a little broken. I think that offensive line's a problem. And the Bears are scoring points. Well, that Lions defense ain't shutting anybody down. So give me the Bears and lay the 3. Mark, I was scared off by all the big lines, all the double-digit lines. I was scared off by all of them. You know, you at least had the guts to take the Patriots and lay the 10.5. You know, I was tempted with Denver and the Chargers because the Chargers aren't playing Herbert. And so then goodness knows who else they're not going to play. You know, and in this situation a year ago, Denver beat Kansas City by 38. But I was just scared off by all the double-digit NFL lines. I stayed away.
I understand it. And it's a great point about last year, Denver, and what they did, humiliating Kansas City the last week of the season when Mahomes sat out the game. Will they do the same to the Chargers with no Herbert? And that one, Trey Lance getting the start. That does not bode well for the Chargers, who have really nothing to play for in that one. It is a weird Week 18. Not a lot to really watch for. The 2 games tomorrow, Carolina and Tampa, and then Seattle and the Niners, the nightcap that David will be at while he's out in California this morning, where it's 4:48 local time. I just want to let people know what he does for this show. Not only will he help mold the future of the Miami Dolphins going forward, he still gets up at 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning to do this damn show from the Pacific time zone.
Did you see? I think he posted it on X, but he also sent it in the Twitch chat room. Swamp Buggy. Okay. He gave me some sort of title with the Dolphins, and he had you as VP of marketing. Okay. That's what I need to pitch to Troy. I forget the title. You're right. I forget the title he gave me. Okay. Somebody also said, I'll bet Troy is dying to hear what Moulton has to say about the Dolphins. And I'm like, what's the opposite of dying to hear?
So David helping to shape the future of the Miami Dolphins. At least at this point in time, that's our story, and we're sticking with it.
In all seriousness, this is going to be a really hard job for the next 2 years. I think, Mark, the Dolphins are about to replace the New Orleans Saints as having the worst cap situation in the league. They don't have a lot of money to spend. They're going to take a $54 million cap hit on Tua, and they're going to take a $30+ million cap hit on Tyreek. That's like $85 million. We haven't even done anything. They're still getting cap hits on guys they've released. I mean, don't laugh. I think the Dolphins with I'm projecting the cap to go from like 272 to 300. I don't think it's out of the question the Dolphins have over 40% of their cap in dead money. That the Dolphins may only have about $175 million to spend on their team next year, and they're going to have $125 million of it that's accounted for players who are not on their roster. And then they got a $30+ million cap hit, almost 40, the following year with Tua, there's a handful of young players that they've got to sign in the next year and start paying. Paul, the left tackle, Achane, okay, a defensive lineman. I mean, a corner. I mean, I'm telling you, the Dolphins, whoever has the job, Mark, for years I've wanted this job. Let me tell you something. The next 2 years, I think probably the worst 2 years to get this job in a long time.
I will say, though, this is where you and I have talked about, certain teams love to win the press conference, and that doesn't matter. But this is a time where transparency needs to be there from the Dolphins front office. They need to, whoever this new GM is, they need to lay it out. Here's where we are. Doesn't mean we're not going to put forth our best effort to win, but we have to rebuild this. And there's no other team to look at but the Denver Broncos. They did it. They had the huge cap hit with Russ. They got through it, and they came out not only just fine on the other side, more than likely being the 1 seed in the AFC on the other side in short order. Now, they did the one thing that's really tough to do. It certainly looks like they got the quarterback right.
Yep.
And they had the defense going in. I don't know what Miami has. I really don't.
Including, do they have the quarterback? Is Ewers the guy? Do you just go forward next year with Ewers and then see where you're at while you take all the massive cap hits on the 2026 cap? Do you count on this draft to find your quarterback? And the Dolphins now are drafting where? Damn near in the teens?
And this year, by all accounts, doesn't look like it's a very good quarterback draft.
But
certainly not in the first round. But could they find their guy in the later rounds? Is Nuss that guy that you get on day 2 that turns out to be the quarterback? Miller and Moulton. It is a football Friday. That means Pat Kirwan coming up at the top of the hour. JP Shadrick, the top of the bonus hour, to talk a little Jags, and we'll see how much pain he's feeling from Alabama being humiliated yesterday by Indiana. That's right, Indiana. Last 2 wins, Ohio State and Alabama. In football, American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239 444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good morning, fellas.
Good morning, Pat.
How
Happy
are
New
you?
Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Life is good.
Yeah. I mean, busy week, 3 games, Atlanta, El Paso, Santa Clara. So busy week.
That Sun Bowl is still around. I cannot believe it.
It's the only bowl CBS has, so they ain't getting rid of it.
Well, as I like to say, then you don't have a bowl.
No, there's no doubt. I think Fox has one bowl too. It's, but yeah. Hey, networks get their hands on sports programming. It's a good time.
Any sports programming is better than TV programming.
Mm-hmm.
How about last night's game? That was great.
It was.
And I'm happy for the guys at Ole Miss, not named Lane. And I'm a friend of Lane's, but come on. Anyway, how about Indiana? They're damn good.
Well, it's funny. Herb Street Spotter is part of the Monday Night Football crew. He's actually the guy that Breeze hired when he came back. Herb Street hooked him up with this Tony guy. And Tony says in Atlanta, he says to me, "Hey, can I talk to you about Indiana?" And I said, they're going to beat them by at least 17 points. And he looked at me and I go, "Yeah, you better tell Kirk." I go, "Alabama will be one-dimensional. They won't be able to run the ball. They play zone defense, and Indiana picks zones apart." I said, Alabama will have to go man to have a chance. And I said, "I'm telling you, they are going to destroy Alabama." And when I heard it was raining, I'm like, "Oh, this is even worse for Alabama."
Yeah. Is that Alabama coach going to get fired?
No, because they don't have the money to pay him off, and who would they hire in his place? Pat, here's the problem. All those northern schools are richer than most of those southern schools. And that's what the southern schools are finding out right now.
That's why our boy quit at Alabama. He knew they didn't have the money.
Nope. And that's the funny thing is the SEC actually should be trying to even the playing field here. Because if this true, while their surroundings are more desirable, weather, girls, the whole deal, if this is about money, those long-standing northern schools have more money than anybody else.
Heck yeah. And I laughed. Well, there are guys down there that know it. But there's just a couple that have, now that they're starting to understand they got to get into the game, but they're not real old money. So I know one guy who said, I'm not giving anymore because they just keep asking the same guys.
Mhm.
And I'm done.
Well, Ed Orgeron said, the secret out loud when you were going through the back door to get players, that basically favored us in the South. Now that you can just walk through the front door and bring your wheelbarrow, there's a lot of schools out there that got bigger wheelbarrows.
Yeah. Down south after Texas, they're loaded, but they're not really a Southern school.
Right.
There are a lot of Fortune 500 companies around. And that's how Texas Tech got better. They got people pouring money into that place.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
On this Football Friday,
Football Friday,
the first one of 2026, of course, our first guest would be Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekdays 3 to 7 Eastern. Sundays, CBS Sports NFL Today Show. Pat joining us, courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, over a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. A belated Happy New Year, my friend. How are you?
Happy New Year to you guys. And you still have me here after all these years. If you told me 20 years ago, we're gonna make you hang around for 20, I didn't think you'd ever keep me. I don't ever keep a job that long. So this is like record territory for me.
Well, neither do we. It's the same job, just with a lot of different employers. In fact, so many that we had to take it over ourselves, Pat. No one else would hire us, but we're still at it.
Well, let me just say this to you, Mark. The reason I never went back in the NFL, and I had a lot of opportunities, is I decided to bet on me, not on coaches I didn't think could win.
Well, week 18, look at, the NFL drew this up, so there'd be a lot of important games. There'd be a lot of playoff teams being decided upon. We have one for sure game that the playoff will be decided upon with Baltimore and Pittsburgh. We have one that's for a 1 seed, and we have one that maybe the winner goes to the playoffs as long as something happens in an Atlanta-New Orleans game. Probably not what the NFL envisioned when they drew up how they finished their season, because they put all these division games on us, and in theory, it should work out for a lot of drama. Not a lot of drama going into Week 18, Pat.
No, well, there is one level of drama left. It's probably not as important as what you listed, but I kind of think there's 4 games that I like a lot. But if you're into the thing like the three of us are, there are other storylines I like. And I like to look for spoilers. We had 3 of them last week. That was fun to see. And Cleveland knocking around Pittsburgh, and Miami knocking around Tampa Bay, and then Atlanta doing what they did to the Rams. So who's out there that could be like a painful crowd? Detroit has reasons to play hard. Washington has reasons to play hard. Those 2, I think, have a chance to be those kind of teams. Miami, I just like the idea that anyone who's bad and out of it needs to finish strong. The New Orleans-Atlanta thing, that's an interesting game to me, because both teams, I've talked to both clubs this week, they both think they're in their minds, they're mentally attacking the Tampa Bay Bucks for the division next year. So those kind of things, which are subplot storylines for me, I like talking about them. I get interested in those things and what's going on with Shuck and what's going on in Atlanta. So I admire teams that don't quit. And this year I feel like we have more teams that are out of it that stayed with it, if you will, and play hard. Is that a boring storyline for a lot of people? Yeah, but not for me.
Well, there's a couple of storylines that interest me. One of them is, Pat, you've been in front offices. You've had to deal with owners directly. How many times does an owner, whether you worked for them or you just heard about it after the fact, how many times does an owner head into Week 18 thinking he's not going to fire a coach, but then a week later does so, or vice versa? Like, I thought Raheem Morris was done 2 weeks ago. Done. And now he could end the season with a 4-game winning streak. Okay, having cost the Rams some seeding and potentially costing a team the division title. I mean, do you fire a guy who ends the season with 4 wins? I'm just curious, how volatile are some of these coaches heading into week 18? Are owners truly undecided?
Some of them are undecided, and too many of them listen to outside people, and they can be influenced to fire or keep. So it is interesting. I've been around and with a lot of fired coaches, and as you were asking the question, I started thinking about situations like, I think the owner in my place was going to fire Pete because he didn't hire Pete. He hired Bruce Coslett. And when Bruce Coslett, I thought he was never firing Bruce. And then as the season unraveled, after we were done with it, people in the building went to the owner and said, we need to make a change because we're going to lose Pete to another place and we think he's the coach of the future. Then all of a sudden something was happening. I don't think the coach or the owner waited very long to fire Coach Kotite, and so on and so forth. And so it goes through that. I've been around all of that stuff, but I do think, and I guess really a question is, does Atlanta have to win this game to put the fire out and Raheem stays? It depends on how they're going to structure their front office. How are they going to structure their front office in Miami? Are they giving the GM the opportunity to bring in his guy? That's the other thing. If you fall in love with a candidate for the GM job and he goes, well, I'd like to bring my own coach, do you not hire the GM because he said that, or do you give him the right to fire? I know the owner is going to go, can you watch my guy for 1 year and then make your decision? That's the favorite owner's thing. Because I can tell you, especially in the case of Atlanta, they just hired Raheem. And I know the owner likes Raheem. And I know that he'd like to see this work. And he also owes him a lot of money. So all that stuff comes into play. So volatility will happen. And then I think you realize that both of you guys know someone who has no intention of firing their coach is going to see a coach come on the market and they're going to go, that dude's better than our dude. And all of a sudden he's firing his guy.
It's funny you say that because I was with a guy that I'd met who's a big Dolphins fan. I don't know him that well, but I'm like, what do you want to do? Because I think he's staying. He's like, well, if John Harbaugh's available, I want John Harbaugh. If Mike Tomlin's available, I want Mike Tomlin. But if not, I'm good with the guy we have. So, like you said, Pat, there are some coaches that, there have been whispers in Pittsburgh and Baltimore all year long. If they don't make the playoffs, what would happen? It shows you not just is that game for the division, but obviously it could spell the future for one of those two franchises, and they don't act quickly ever when it comes to coaching decisions.
Right. What did Bill Polian do when Tony became available, leaving Tampa? He hired him. So it can happen. It will happen. And believe me, and I think your listeners all know this, the agents for these coaches are behind the scenes. They've been working it for months. And they're going, hey, my guy might come free. You know what? He's in the last year of his deal. He probably had let the contract expire if you were interested. They are all working it. We worked it. You can't wait till they shoot the gun to start the season. You'll be left at the altar. And if you think, oh, everyone wants to come here, no, they don't. So you better get into the race early. Otherwise, you'll overestimate how many good people want to come to your team.
Pat, I'm convinced the Raiders, that once it careened out of control, that the Raiders are doing everything possible above Pete Carroll to lose and get the number 1 pick. But coaches never want to lose, and players never want to dog it in a league that doesn't have guaranteed contracts, a lot of them, and a bunch of 1-year contracts. So I'm curious, can in 2025 a front office tank, or will the coaches and players just take it in their control and not tank for them?
Well, you use the Raiders as your example. They already put Max on IR, right? They put him down. He's going to have knee
Brock
surgery.
Bowers.
Well, Brock Bowers couldn't walk anymore. Those guys were playing hurt, and all the players on the team knew it. and both of them were just gutting it out and couldn't go anymore. So it's easy to see. And Crosby's fine. He had that little act, which was an act, because he's the leader of the team, and he wanted to go down, with on a sword for his teammates, and that he's a real thinker about that stuff. So it's fine. He's already back at practice, joking around, helping the young guys. But you don't really have to tank. You just have to, either put the guys on IR that deserve to be on IR, or try to put a guy on IR that's not hurt. You can get in a lot of trouble for that, especially when the player goes to the league. There's nothing wrong with me. So they don't do that. Will they sub out players in the game? Yeah. But Pete's going to land up with the first pick. Do you want the first pick? I don't know the answer to that. I'll find out, but you got to really want the first pick to do that.
No doubt. And there's not a lot of quarterbacks, at least right now. Doesn't appear to be a lot of quarterbacks, certainly first-round guys in this draft. With that being said, Pat, who's auditioning for a starting job somewhere else this Sunday? What quarterbacks are you paying attention to? And are there any that you think basically are auditioning for the league on Sunday or Saturday for that matter?
Well, how many are going to be free? And then how many are going to cost you a ton to get them out of their place? Like, I've been laughing about the Lamar Jackson stuff forever. They've gone down the road with Lamar. They're not moving Lamar. Tua's not playing, so he's not auditioning. He doesn't need to audition. He'll be most likely available. If the owner doesn't want to pay and take the cap hit, and he finds a guy who interviews for the job who says, we think Tua is great, then they'll probably hire the guy and try to keep Tua and see if he can fix him. We get a lot of those things. Bruce Arians goes to Tampa Bay and tells the owner, Jameson's a good player. How many games, David, before he said, you're on the bench, Jameson?
Well, they gave him the year, and he threw 30-plus touchdowns and 30-plus turnovers, and he said, yep, I love him, but I'm done with him.
Yeah, and he intended to do that the whole time, but to get the job and then clean the deck and go with your own guy. Look, the best candidate's Daniel Jones, which tells you about the candidate list, and he's not playing because of injury. So I don't know where you're going to find Mac. They're not giving Mac Jones away unless you give them a lot. They got him for $3 million. You guys talked about it the other day, and they already proved they needed him. So I will be keeping him if I'm San Francisco, because they think they've got a really good team, and they've already proven that if Purdy goes down, they can still win with Mac. So is that worth $3 million? It's worth more than a second-round pick.
Very quickly, 30 seconds. Do you think Malik Willis is legit, or do you think that this is Cooper Rush going 4-1 with the Cowboys and can't play elsewhere?
Well, I think Cooper Rush can play elsewhere, but they went to a place where they like to have a runaround quarterback. And so they found out, we still like to run around. So they benched him. But he could easily go to a team that, I'll tell you, Cooper Rush could go play in Minnesota. He could go to that coach and be fine. He'd maybe go 2-2 as the backup. So where you go has something to do with what you're going to do.
Okay.
Malik Willis.
Well, we're up against it.
Too bad. Sorry, Malik, but you'll get a job.
He's Pat Kirwan, more with Pat on the other side.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You flying
what's
up?
new, Mark?
Are you already up north, or are you flying up today?
No, I'm right here. I'll fly up tomorrow morning.
Okay. You guys have a game? No, that's right. They're both ESPN tomorrow. I get so confused.
Yeah, I love the college games yesterday.
Oh man, what that guy has done at Indiana, I've said it a million times on the show. It's the best hire this century, and it's not close.
I agree. And so when you look at him, let me ask you a question, and I don't have an opinion yet, but I'm looking to form one. Do you think that guy has head coach and NFL material?
He's old. I mean, he's in his 60s, so I don't know just because of that. And there was a hockey coach that I liked a lot that coached the Wings for a while. His name was Jacques Demers. And he had a short shelf life because he ran guys hard. And you know the guy, you know the coaches that I'm talking about. Harbaugh's one of them. He seems to coach guys that way. I don't know if I think he's perfect for college. I think after 4 years, you might have had enough of Signetti. I could be wrong.
No, I don't think you're wrong at all.
He's so brash. I love it.
What Parcells said about himself. He told me to my face, hey, we all have a shelf life, and I knew mine. I knew when to go.
So I think he's perfect for what he's doing. David, do you think Signetti could coach on Sunday? I think he's got a lot of Harbaugh in him, that after 4 years, you've kind of had enough of that guy. I've not heard it, but just the way he acts seems like he'd be a tough guy to play for long term. And I know he's 66, 67, something like that, isn't he?
I think he's a touch younger. He's 62, 63, but
I like the style of offense and defense.
He's 64. We split the difference.
Gotcha. I love his style of offense. People don't realize he runs the ball over 60% of the time. His run-pass ratio yesterday was 50-16. Okay, people don't realize that he's got a lot of Shanahan in him in terms of play calling and
Alex Gibbs
and zone blocking and controlling the line of scrimmage and a lot of balance.
When you're at small schools before you get to the big school and you have to neutralize teams that are better than you, that's what I think the guy is now. NIL changed everything because he's buying his football team.
Sure.
They are a full rental outfit.
He's also
nobody from California ever woke up and said, I think I'll go to Indiana.
True. Here's the other thing, though. He's bought that defensive coordinator. That defensive coordinator has been 3 different teams in the last 12 months have come after him. And he's gone from $800,000 to $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
Because the big boys keep coming for him, and Signetti just keeps finding more money to keep him.
And that's after this operation, he won't have to ask. They'll just be mailing it in.
I think the Indiana defensive coordinator is going to be a lot like who's the guy at Oklahoma now who was Dabo's long-time defensive coordinator?
Mm.
Okay, and remember, Venables, and Venables stayed at Clemson. And basically it was like, I'll leave for the Oklahoma job and that's it. And when it opened up, he left. And I don't know what this D coordinator's dream job is, but Cignetti has basically said, there's no reason for you to leave until it becomes open.
Right. Yeah. It's fun watching it though. That and the Ole Miss game. I enjoyed both of them quite a bit.
The hitting that the what you can do on Saturday versus Sunday is unbelievable, Pat.
That's why that when they come to the NFL, there's DPI every play because they don't call it in college. It's ridiculous. They were mauling each other, which I kind of like.
But also the hits on the quarterback. They can lambaste a quarterback.
Yep.
That hit that Gunnar Stockton took, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yep.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
And our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat always joins us, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. You mentioned it last segment, teams that are finishing strong here. I mean, Saints have won 4 in a row. Falcons have won 3 in a row. They're playing each other. What have you seen from this Tyler Shuck guy? Have the Saints found a quarterback? You know, I think this is what the Dolphins are hoping, whether it's enough of an audition this year or they're going to have to play him next year, you know, in which maybe we just draft a quarterback, not in the first round, and he pans out. I mean, you know, Shuck and the Saints here could finish with a 5-game winning streak.
Yeah, well, I talked to Tyler this week. Very interesting guy. I talked to him before, but now that he's winning games, it's always more interesting to me to review that with him. Look, the guy runs better than I thought. He's clearly the maturity of his age helps him now. And in the quarterback position, as long as you don't get a major injury, you can play till you're 40. So I don't worry about his age in this case. He'll get 2 more contracts if he continues. I think they believe he's the guy. And I've talked to people inside the organization before I talked to Tyler, and they do. He's probably going to win the Rookie of the Year. And get ready for that, because a month ago I would have never said it. I'm a voter. I see where guys are going and the momentum the kid's creating for himself. So they have their quarterback. And again, Penix is hard to stay healthy. You tell me, who would you take right now, David? Shuck or the young man over there in Carolina?
Oh, Shuck. I mean, the Bryce Young, what did he throw for last week? 54 yards? I mean, no.
Right.
There are some weeks where he looks good, and there are some weeks in which he doesn't even look like a college quarterback anymore.
And every week he looks small. I've never seen a man playing in the NFL when he is next to his lineman look that little. It's amazing that he stays healthy, and good for him on that. But you brought up those quarterbacks in that division. You know, what's Atlanta going to do going forward with Kirk Cousins, Pat?
Well, I talk to their coach every week. If he's the coach and if he has his way, they'll keep him. They're paying him, and they'd have to pay a whole bunch of that money to get him out of there. And I think the coach, like every coach, David said it before, coaches want to win games. If he's your backup, Mark, aren't you sleeping at night knowing if Penix goes, and Penix has a medical history from college? If you were the coach, forget everything else. If you were the coach, would you want to keep Cousins on your roster?
Hell, don't even know if Penix is going to be healthy for opening day next year, and they could finish this season with a 4-game winning streak with Kirk Cousins. I think it's a no-brainer. That's
why I like that game this weekend. I think it solidifies Cousins is staying. It might solidify the coaches staying. I think the questions about Shuck will go away if he wins, and it'll be like, yeah, they got the guy they're going to build around. So it's fun for me to see those.
All right. Couple of really big games here. Quickly, we'll start with the first one. Carolina, Tampa Bay. Carolina wins. They win the South. Tampa Bay wins. Then they root for the Saints on Sunday. Your thoughts, Carolina, Tampa?
I think Tampa will win the game. Then they have to sit and wait for the mercy of the other game, which I can't predict at this point. But Atlanta's rolling, so maybe they can do it and destroy the party. They're not playing to hurt Tampa. They're just trying to finish strong to keep their coach. But I do think head-to-head Tampa Bay wins the game, and then we'll see where it goes.
All right, Seattle and San Francisco. Obviously, San Francisco, if they win this, they can stay home throughout the playoffs all the way to the Super Bowl. Do they get it done against Seattle?
Everybody says that about San Francisco, but if Seattle wins, don't they get to stay home the whole time?
Well, no, I mean, yeah, but the Super Bowl's in Santa Clara, so that.
My apologies. That part. I kind of like Seattle in this if the tight end isn't playing for San Francisco.
I'm with you. Kittle's status, I think, is very big. Here's the part of this game that most people don't know. Mike McDonald, first with Baltimore and in Seattle, has done a really good job against Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy. Better than just about anybody. San Fran's been scoring a lot of points lately. But
35 a game, right?
But against Seattle and McDonald, they're hard-pressed to get above 20.
Yeah, was the first round 17-13?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's your point. I like Seattle. I think Seattle, I don't like the road as much when you go to San Francisco. But if you can handle McCaffrey, you really should be okay. And he's getting the ball 30 times. In a game like this, they'll make it 35 times if they have to.
Mark, I'll say this. Okay, usually you got to put pressure on Darnold. San Francisco, fewest sacks in the league. It's amazing they're in position to be the 1 seed. They have the fewest sacks in the league, and their starting quarterback missed 6 games. It's remarkable.
And he's not even really being thought of as coach of the year, and it really is kind of a crime because there's a lot of guys deserving, but the fact that his name's not being thrown out for it with what they've done with the injuries and players that have left and players that don't want to play, it's been amazing. Finally, Sunday night, Pat, Baltimore and Pittsburgh. It's the best rivalry in the sport. It's for the division. Yet my tickets are still not sold, by the way, to that game. When you look at, yeah, I'm stunned. But Baltimore and Pittsburgh Sunday night, Pat.
Yep. Well, the history says you just take Pittsburgh. Lamar is 1-3 in Pittsburgh, and he's got a losing record overall, including postseason 3-5. I say this a lot about Lamar. First off, Lamar's not 100%, and he's going to play, and he's not 100%. And so the more you play Lamar, the more you know how to play Lamar. That's why the NFC teams can never beat Baltimore. It's a ridiculous record. But teams like Pittsburgh, who sees him all the time, they know how to play him. I don't think Pittsburgh's as strong as they need to be, really. I think whoever wins this will lose in the first round, but I'll be taking Pittsburgh at home.
Okay, let me ask you this, though. What does Pittsburgh have to prevent Baltimore doing to them what they did to Green Bay last week? I mean, what if Baltimore just decides to go 2 tight end and give the ball to King Henry? I mean, can Pittsburgh stop them? Because I don't know, Pat, if they can.
Well, I agree with you that's what they should do. And I think after last week, they will do it. A, to protect the quarterback. B, because the head coach told the OC, Todd Monken, run the ball. And they will do that. I don't think they even have a choice. And on the road, you like to run the ball anyway. But sooner or later, the quarterback's going to have to deliver. And I do think Pittsburgh, talking to Coach Cowher about the front three, the young guys are starting to play better up there. Derek's going to get his 100 yards. Now, is he going to get 200 yards? And my answer is no.
Yeah, that Pittsburgh O-line's got to block a little better than they have been for Aaron Rodgers in that game. Do you think, Pat, that the loser of this game, that the team who loses will have a new head coach next year?
Boy, I hate those questions, but I'll answer it. There's a chance both could be gone. That's a lousy answer from me. But there's a real chance in my mind that neither one will be gone. And I think when you start talking about letting Mike Tomlin go or John go, you have to really look at the landscape and say, do I really want to do this? And my answer will be no, they will not do it.
And you know my answer is yes. And I think, by the way, it could be a trade. That it may not be a firing, but I think that there's not the obvious candidates for all the vacancies we're going to have. And I think a team may actually try to acquire one of those guys. All right. The big three in the AFC, they're all at home, solid favorites in division games. Denver against the Chargers, New England against Miami, Jacksonville against Tennessee. Any of the big three worry you 30 seconds?
Yeah, well, Chargers aren't playing Herbert. So it's when are the games played? The Jacksonville game's at 1:00. They win the game, which I think they will. Then all of a sudden the pressure on Denver, especially Denver, is big because Denver has to win. Otherwise, they're going to lose their spot. Jacksonville beat Denver.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden they'd have the same record if Denver loses, and Jacksonville would be in a nice spot.
He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today Show, joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You know, David, while I appreciate your editing, you also took out something near and dear to my heart that fortunately I saved on Word before I transferred it over.
What was that?
The first curling club in the U.S. opened today in 1832. How could you? How dare you, sir? How dare you?
I'm sorry, you're right. That was very out of line.
Other than a nap, do you have anything after the show?
No.
All right. I had sent you, I would rather you do them just because it works better going, Miller Moulton on breaks. That email I sent with the 2 new spots for Lee County.
Okay, right after the show?
Yeah, and we'll do that in the promo if that's all right.
Huh. Feeney, there was a big story about it yesterday that the owner doesn't want to pay the buyout and that there's not an obvious candidate to replace him with. Certainly not in-house. So based on the story, if the stories from yesterday were true, that they're not making a change. I will say Tristan Wirfs and quite a few of the veteran players have come out and said, you guys don't know crap. That the thought to them, they're like, the thought of getting rid of Todd Bowles is asinine. So take it for what it's worth.
And by the way, Feeney, I appreciate your help. I never did hear from your guy there. I don't know what happened there. I know you said I was going to, but I never did hear anything. And if I did, I didn't see it. So, but I'm pretty sure I didn't get anything from him.
Dead struck. We had one on the hook outside of the 239, but no, we're hoping to in 2026. We're actually struck a deal to work on it. But the thing is, the staffing is the 2 guys you're looking at. So, this is where we need outside help. $20 an hour, though, Sonny. I would have done it as a teenager. I would have jumped in and done it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. JP Shadrick will join us then. He of the Jags Radio Network, Westwood One, college and pro football talk with JP coming up. We're thrilled to begin 2026 talking with a guy we think covers his sport as well as anyone, and that's Greg Wyshinski, ESPN, ESPN.com. Follow Greg on X at Wyshinski, WYSHYNSKI. How are you? A belated Happy New Year. How you been?
I'm good, man. I had a son in
I know
Columbus Day, and so that's been an interesting challenge because we also have a daughter who's turning 2 next month. So let me know if when I can nap. You guys can just send me a message and say it's okay to nap now because it is a trying time, but an awesome time. And spending Christmas with both of them was really dope. But then the other thing, though, boys, is as we just hopped on the phone, they revealed the official Olympic roster for the USA on the Today Show, and so we kind of knew it already, but now it is official, and that's kind of exciting.
All right. First off, 2029 would be my guess as when you can nap in your own home. You did let me know you're not going to be at the game tonight, but you'll be at the Stadium Series in Tampa on the road. I will laugh. When I first started working in minor league hockey and traveling, the captain of our team had a young kid, and he's like, guys were still, this is a different day in hockey when guys went out on the road and had beers, and he never went out. He's like, this is the only time I ever get to sleep. I've got a toddler at home, for crying out loud. These road trips are great. I catch up on my sleep.
Yeah, all my friends that I get to see when I'm on the road in hockey media are going to have to really get used to the Irish goodbye. I might be a one and doneer now as I try to maximize my time in bed without being awoken at 4 a.m. for a bottle.
By the way, Greg, Mark says 2029. I was actually thinking the early 2030s. So really enjoy life on the road. Okay, listen, we'll start there then with the team that was unveiled. Any major surprises, and how many of the young upstart teens did they put on it?
Well, a couple of changes from the Four Nations face-off roster, but only a couple. I mean, it's essentially the same team that we had for that tournament in early 2025. The biggest change and the biggest shock was New York Rangers defenseman Adam Fox being left off the Olympic team. Now, it was an interesting last few months in hearing about the internal debate about Fox. They blame him basically for McDavid's tournament-winning goal in overtime. He blew an assignment. It allowed Canada to get set up for the shot that McDavid had that won the game. They didn't think that Fox had overall a very good tournament. There were some concerns about pace of play, which is something that had dogged him earlier in his career too. That being said, he started off this season incredibly well for the Rangers, and on top of that, the head coach of Team USA is now the head coach of the New York Rangers, and Mike Sullivan. So I think we all kind of thought that there was a pretty good chance he'd make the cut, but he did not make the cut, which is a pretty significant story. The other new faces on the team, Clayton Keller of the Utah Mammoth, really good, scoring forward who can also take care of business in his defending end. He makes the team. Tage Thompson, the big center for the Buffalo Sabres, makes the team. He was basically the injury reserve for the gold medal game, so it was kind of obvious he'd make the cut. And then Chris Kreider did not make the team. He's the only forward from Four Nations that wasn't brought back. So essentially the Four Nations team with a couple of augmentations, and then one more, obviously, on the blue line we should talk about. Seth Jones makes the team from the Florida Panthers, which is think about the year this guy's had, right? Playing in obscurity in Chicago during a rebuild. And then he gets traded to Florida, helps them win a cup. Him and Mikko are the best defensive pairing on the team in the playoffs, and then plays his way onto the Team USA roster, which is something no one would have predicted about a year ago.
From the Canadian side, there were a couple of snubs, and I had some people text me this morning, the goal scorer from Boston, which I didn't think was a snub. He's having a great year, but their B team might be able to win a gold medal. How much better do you think this Canadian team is than the Four Nations roster last year?
That's a great question. I do think it's better only because I think, although the goaltending remains not all that great, especially in comparison to what the Americans have, I think they probably went from like a C or a C plus to at least a B minus. They swapped out Aiden Hill and Sam Montembeault for Darcy Kemper and Logan Thompson. And then, the guy at the top of the pyramid remains Jordan Binnington of the St. Louis Blues, for better or for worse. Better in the sense that, as we saw in the gold medal game at Four Nations, when he's great, he's incredible. Worse because he is statistically one of the worst goalies in the league this year. So you don't know what you're getting, but we know what his ceiling is. But listen, they're extremely strong. I mean, they add Macklin Celebrini, the brilliant young player for the San Jose Sharks, who's got like 60 points in 38 or 39 games. He's been great. If Bo Horvat's healthy enough to play, I think that gives them a good goal scoring option down low. The biggest surprise, obviously, I think for a lot of people was not seeing Sam Bennett's name on this list. It's only because the reputation Sam Bennett has is when the games get big and the stage gets, the spotlight increases, he's at his best. I mean, the man just won a Conn Smythe trophy for the way that he played in the Panthers Cup run. So the idea that Bennett was left off this team was kind of a surprise, but maybe between Horvat and then Tom Wilson of the Capitals making the team, they feel like they've got some of the things that Bennett does spread out across a couple of different guys.
It's funny. I wonder if the Olympics are physical enough for Bennett, because I think the more physical it is, the better of a player, more of an impact that he makes. Okay, tonight in South Florida, Winter Classic. Obviously, this is the first of 2 in Florida this year. A month from now, they'll do it in Tampa Bay. Are they going to be able to pull this sucker off? Is this going to work?
What's the concern? I mean, first of all, there's a roof, right? If they need it. Yeah, so they should be fine. I was looking at some of the specs for like what the surface is going to look like and what the aesthetics are going to look like, because those are always really intriguing to me. I do love the sort of neon pink and blue situation going on for this game. I've actually said for a while that I think some bold expansion team should probably adopt that color format and sell 1 billion jerseys to a bunch of Gen Zs. But it's going to be aesthetically pleasing. It's going to be a huge crowd. I think I saw the games as sellout, and it should be a pretty raucous atmosphere, as you guys know, because it's not as if the visiting team is going to have its support in those stands as well. So I'm looking forward to it. They have a real knack now of being able to hold these things in any manner and sort of temperature. So I don't expect there to be any issue, and if there is, they can just close the roof if they need to.
Are you surprised, or did you expect the Panthers to be about where they are? With no Tkachuk, with no Barkov, I mean, obviously, it's not like it's two middle-of-the-road players. I mean, Barkov might be the best two-way player in the game. We all know what Tkachuk brings to the table. Without them, and again, they're a wild card team right now. For how long, I don't think we'll worry about that. But are you surprised at where the Panthers are at this point?
First of all, I should say I'm surprised Tkachuk's not playing tonight. Like, I really thought, like, once we started to see him skate and everything, that was going to be the first game he plays. But maybe they're just kind of like, with all that goes on at an outdoor game, maybe it's not the best environment for him to play, considering how important his health is to this team. So that's one aspect of it. But no, they needed to tread water, and in some ways they've done more than tread water. I mean, they have a points percentage nearing 600. They've really kind of locked in like the last 9 or 10 games and have been playing well. And it's a bizarre conference this year in the sense that everybody is over 500, is 500 or better in the East right now. And so given that competition to be where they are, especially when you see other teams like the Rangers having already kind of faded back, I think is a real accomplishment. And, when you start to think about the turbo boost that Tkachuk coming back is going to be for this team, you start to wonder how high they can climb.
The Buffalo Sabres. I mean, there's a generation of hockey fans that have no idea what the heck is going on. They've won 10 in a row. Okay. They're a point out of the playoffs, I believe, right now.
Oh, they're in, I think.
I think a wild card. They're a point behind. No, they're in. You're right. They're the second wild card. Okay. This is great for hockey because goodness knows that area of the country loves it. Is this sustainable?
Well, and not only does that area of the country need it, but like people forget that back in the day, the audiences that they would get watching television in Buffalo would sometimes like juice the national ratings. Like that's how many people would watch hockey. And clearly because of their lack of playoff success, I think some of that passion sort of atrophied. So to see them get back on the horse and really, contend. And again, it's hilarious for a few reasons. The first being that they didn't fire their coach, they fired their GM. And so is it they hated their boss, or is it that they were so comfortable with the old boss that now that Jarmo Kekalainen came in and he's got this reputation of a guy that trades anybody, that now they're on their toes and knowing that they have to like perform or else they could be out the door. And the other thing is that, they've gotten some great performances that have fueled this thing. Alex Lyon, their primary goalie, I think is really, really played well in the last month and solidified that position in a way that no one else seemingly has been able to. And then a guy named Josh Norris, who they acquired from the Ottawa Senators in a controversial trade for Dylan Cousins. He's a tremendous player, but he cannot stay healthy. And he's been healthy, and he's been healthy throughout this entire stretch, and he's been a real difference maker for them. So is it real? I don't know. We've seen them do this before, but it is exciting to see some some juice around that franchise again.
No doubt. All right. Colorado, what they're doing is just ridiculous. I mean, 2 losses in regulation through damn near 40 games. But Dallas and Minnesota would be leading every other division in the sport except the one they're in. And they're going to meet in the first round of the playoffs. And, oh, by the way, the winner gets Colorado. Is this the year that maybe, just maybe, because of what's going on, the league will demand going back to 1 through 8 in the conferences? Or is Bettman going to keep the – and I'm probably the only guy out there that likes the playoffs being in the division. I'm old. I remember having to battle through the Norris as a Wings fan before they ever got good. But
Absolutely.
Is this divisional thing working, or the fact that these 3 teams are the 3 best in the league and are all going to have to bang heads early in the playoffs going to change anything?
I think there's going to be a huge backlash against it because of the very thing you're talking about, which is that you're going to have this arguably the 3 best teams in the league, 2 of them playing in the first round, and then the winner has to play the next one. And it's just, it's not great. I think it really devalues the regular season to have this for those teams. That being said, the NHL's pushback on it is, one, a Dallas-Minnesota series is great for business, and especially in the first round, which is the time in which most people are usually kind of like tuned in and focused on the NHL when the playoffs start. And then they'll also probably just say, hey, it's not going to be like every season, and you can't necessarily scrap your format for what essentially is an anomaly. What I will tell you is that the players that I speak to every year about this stuff all kind of say the same thing, which is that they want to go back to 1 to 8. And part of that is nostalgia. I think a lot of these guys grew up with the 1 through 8 and missed that format. But the other thing too is their biggest gripe is they're tired of seeing the same matchups. Like we put out a playoff bracket recently on ESPN, and the bracket had Edmonton playing Los Angeles. And I'm like, who in their right mind wants to see that again? That'd be like what, the 4th or 5th consecutive season that these guys have played each other in the first round. So the biggest gripe that the players have is that they're tired of the same matchups over and over again. I think that's a legit gripe. But as much as we're going to, gripe about it, I don't think that the NHL has much of an appetite to change what they believe is still working, at least under Bettman.
Well, he'll finish his story about the U.S. Olympic team being made official here this morning, and then he'll be taking a nap, and then we'll see what Greg Wyshinski does later this afternoon if you follow him on X. Greg, a belated Happy New Year. All the best to you and your growing family. Safe travels, great sleep. We'll talk before the Olympics.
Much appreciated. Thanks, Liz.
Greg Wyshinski. Follow him on X at Wyshinski, WISHYNSKI.
I'm the only hockey guy out there that's fine with the playoffs like this. I love it. I'm telling you, Dallas and Minnesota in the first round, sign me up.
You mean the Stars against the former North Stars?
JP Shadrick. He's next, Miller and Moulton. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With the newest slots, action-packed table games, sports betting, the hottest entertainment, and a variety of award-winning restaurants. Expect more with live craps, roulette, and blackjack 24/7. And over 1,400 of the most popular slot machines. This is the place where paradise never ends. This is Seminole Casino Hotel. Minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 to play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning, JP.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you? Happy New Year.
I'm good. Happy New Year, guys. What's up?
Is that a real mic or is that like an Edward R. Murrow prop mic?
You tell
Okay.
me. Yeah, you tell me.
All right.
Is that our Murrow with like the carbon in it? You gotta like hit it with a
Exactly, you know.
pin.
Put an old, WMCA on it, right.
You walk into CBS Studios in New York, and that thing's sitting in a box in the lobby, like in a display case. It's pretty
Right.
funny. Pretty cool.
That is.
By the way, what a trip down memory lane you sent me on by posting that picture from 20 years ago, 19 years ago. Wow.
Unbelievable, right? Yeah, because I turned on the Open just to see how they did, and because it was right before when I texted you, right before the game started, and I just wanted to see the Open. I didn't see the end of the game though. I wish I would have seen that, but that was fun. Those were the days, man. 2006.
That was such an exciting day.
God dang, Florida was good. Arkansas was good. I mean, my
but
God.
also just the landscape of the sport changed that day during that broadcast.
Yeah, pretty much. No doubt. Man. So how was El Paso anyway?
It was great in many respects. First off, the atmosphere amongst the crew was festive. Gary's very popular with the crew.
Yeah.
So everybody was in a really good, they weren't dreading the Sun Bowl like they normally do. It was also Milty's last game as director. By the way.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So amongst the crew, it was a very festive atmosphere. Yeah.
He's still doing golf, or is he done? Okay.
Still doing golf.
Okay.
But it's his last football game. And it's a new hotel. They renovated apparently a very old downtown hotel, and we've been staying in that. And they've got a great bar, restaurant, and the little neat within walking distance downtown El Paso scene. Great Christmas lights. It was festive. It was really good.
That's cool.
Unlike
That committee,
a lot of
yeah,
dreary Sun Bowls.
that committee there has always done a good job of like taking care of our group.
Yes.
Even at the Radisson Airport, they had the hospitality room, which was fantastic. It's like 24 hours a day. And then they had people who would drive you wherever you wanted to go. And that was top tier there. I enjoyed that.
What the hell else does a bowl committee have to do other than kiss the media's ass so they say nice things about the town?
And the teams. I mean, now Lane and USC wanted no part of being there the one year, and they basically, blew everyone and everything off. But if you get off the plane and you're open to the Sun Bowl experience, those people will wine and dine you.
Now, I didn't get to go when they used to take the teams across the border to bullfights and stuff and dinner. They stopped that when the murder rate in Juarez went to like 4,000.
Yeah, in 2010, when we got out of the car and they said, you need to duck down low when you're going through the lot to get into the stadium. The bullets have been ricocheting a lot lately. Yeah, that was an eye-opener.
Stay away from the fence line. Good
right.
idea.
Which is tough to do when you're driving on I-10 because you're 30 feet from the fence.
Right. You know, the first time I go to El Paso, I've seen all these Western movies, right? So it's like, I'm like, I want to go see the Rio Grande.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
On this first Football Friday of 2026, we begin the Diamond District Bonus Hour with JP Shadrick. Westwood One Radio Network, Touchdown Radio Network, Jags Radio Network. Follow him on X at JP Shadrick, SHADRICK. A belated Happy New Year to you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy New Year to you guys. And I'm sitting here getting ready for this conversation, and I've got the television on in studio here on ESPN. And the headline is, how will Alabama fans handle the blowout loss? Well, boy, do we have news for you. It's just going to be very calm, very collected,
right?
Very patient. It's a process. I don't think so, Tim. It's not a good day and back home, I don't think.
All right. I want to talk to Alabama grad, JP. I don't care about all your titles and all your jobs and national this. When's the last time you've seen something like that?
Let's see. It's been a while. I mean, it's been a long time, clearly. Saw a lot of that. Let's see. 1990, they got blown out in the Fiesta Bowl. That was Gene Stallings' first year. Louisville put a number on them in Tempe that year.
Schnellenberger, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. That's absolutely right. That was I think the biggest bowl blowout loss in a long time. I mean, I was looking at shutout numbers at one point in the game, and the last time they were shut out was the 2000 Iron Bowl, 9-0 in the sleet. They've somehow found a way. They just got physically dominated. I mean, that offensive line for Indiana kicked their ass up and down the Rose Bowl Stadium all day long, and it didn't matter. And they kept doing it in the fourth quarter. And then the defense, to their credit, just kept applying pressure. They're bringing corner blitzes up by 30. Like, no mercy, no quarter. I mean, the flag's upside down. They did not care.
Who did that remind you of, by the way? No, in all seriousness, no. Who does that remind you of? The way Alabama 15 years ago just treated opponents in the SEC?
The machine crushes all, right?
Yes.
And it didn't matter what the color was on the other side, what was on your helmet. It was all about the number on the crimson helmet, and that was it. And that seems very similar, at least in the beginning.
It is fascinating because, to me, I don't get the sense that people are jumping. Normally, if this was Indiana doing it, the Cinderella story, everybody would be going nuts. And maybe they are, and I'm just missing it. But because Signetti's a bit of a curmudgeon, and by a bit, I mean a lot, and he just has an attitude about him, I don't think they're getting the love they would get if it were a lot of other coaches. But it's the best job that's ever been. To me, I don't think there's ever been a college coach who's done a better job. I mean, this is Indiana, JP. This is stunning.
It is. I'll say that. I'll also say that it's a new era of college football, too, and it doesn't feel like just a flash in the pan moment. They've got to restock and get some new players in, but you can restock and get new players in now and replace some of those guys that are rolling out. So, I think this is just the beginning of what they could do because they're going to buy in. Yeah, it's a basketball school, but you win like this, especially if they go win the whole thing, and you're going to have a lot of backing there. And he's already signed up for the long haul. So there's stability there. It is a fantastic job of what they've done over the last few years at Indiana, and they're far from done. I think they're only just beginning.
Well, they may just be beginning of a new era in Jacksonville also. Guaranteed a playoff spot, a chance to clinch the division. How many of those have the Jags had in their history? About a handful?
Four division titles, 98, 99 in the Central, AFC Central, and then 2017 and 2022 in the AFC South. Both of those, the last two, have been first-year coaches for the Jags, by the way, Doug Marrone and Doug Peterson. Of course, Liam Cohen, a first-year coach this time. So a win away or a Texans loss.
So, Indianapolis wasn't going to go away easy. And in division, it's tough to beat a team twice. It really is. And I don't know if it was the Jags' best performance last week, but they just don't fold, do they? I mean, this is different to me in that regard. And I know we've seen it now for several weeks, so no one's surprised by it. But JP, this is just, you're there, you're witnessing firsthand. How different does it feel?
I talked to Foye Luakin about this in the locker room yesterday. Linebacker, leading tackler, led the league in tackles a few years back. Veteran guys, been around. And about that, is it a good thing that you guys were down 10-0 and found a way to come back? And he's like, well, it's not the first time. Like, we've done this has happened before. They did it in Arizona. They're down. It's back and forth. They did it in there was an Oakland game Las Vegas Raiders game where it's back and forth. It's a tight game. They're finding ways. But they just have a calm demeanor about them. Yeah, if all heck's breaking loose in the first quarter, well, there's 3 more quarters. We can make an adjustment. And in that game against the last game against Tennessee, especially, that was not as big of a deficit. But the first drive, Tennessee's just churning through them on the ground. Tony Pollard had 36 yards rushing in the first quarter. And then he didn't after that. I mean, they figured out an adjustment. So credit the coaching staff to make some certain adjustments if things aren't going right. And the players for executing those adjustments. And they just calm down and play football. They don't press and try to build it back right away. They know they have all day to do it. And they just have that presence about them, which is, I think, grown as the season has gone along because they've won a lot of different ways this year.
JP, don't feel bad about the Oakland reference. This is the first year that Mark has not said San Diego. When referring. No. And I don't mean 2026. This is the first football season that Mark has not had to throw money into the jar for referring to the Chargers as San Diego. So don't worry about it. You've still got a few years to go. I think it was like week 3 or week 4. They blew that game in Cincinnati week 2, and we're like, oh, same old Jags. And they beat the Texans at home.
I don't know. They had that game. There was a PI at the end that they're still angry about.
No, but they made a bad coaching decision, and then Trevor threw an end zone pick, and it was just kind of like, okay. Well, okay. Yeah. But then they came home, they beat the Texans. Remember, it's the team who won the division the last 2 years. Then they went on the road, and they beat Frisco. And to me, that was the first sign, kind of like, this ain't a soft team anymore. Not just physically, but wow, mentally, this might actually be a team.
There was all this talk about West Coast and how they handle a trip, and the Jags historically have been terrible out west and all these things. It's like, well, no, this is not the same old Jags. That was kind of their early season mantra. We're not that. And they went out and proved it, at least early in the season in some of those big moments, that they were not that. Now, they ran into some really good teams middle of the season. Seattle is a fantastic defensive football team. Jags had the ball. They're down 8 in the game, but it just felt like Seattle was the stronger team at that moment. And then the Rams got away from them. That was a blowout. And I think that opened some eyes. And then the bye week came. Good time for that. And since the bye week, pretty much it's been nonstop ever since, with the exception of the fourth quarter against Houston. And that's where the season totally took a different dynamic, Dave. I mean, you're right about that early part to San Francisco to get them to the bye week with some confidence. Okay, we can win games like this. When they lost that Texans game, it changed the season for both Jacksonville and Houston. Neither team has lost since then. And the Jags don't want to lose a game like that again. And they're not going to let the foot off the accelerator. And they're going to have to finish teams no matter what the logo is on the side of the helmet.
I'm going to take Trevor off the table, and if you think he deserves it, that's fine. But if you were to name an offensive MVP, and I told you couldn't pick Trevor, who would it be?
Well, it's a good one.
Be the Rose Bowl committee who gave the MVP to the center yesterday. Don't give it to Mendoza, give it to the center. And by the way, they went crazy when that got announced. The team loved it.
Yeah, that was a pretty awesome. I mean, I was going to say like Cole Van Lannon because he's played 4 spots of the offensive line this year and he's the starting left tackle right now. But, I think it's ETN's been big. They haven't run the ball great lately, but he's been big in the passing game. He's over 1,000 yards again. He's in a contract year. He can play it in the passing game. That's a big one. Jacoby Myers has changed the whole dynamic of what this season has been. I mean, Travis Hunter was gone. What are they going to do now? His knee's hurt. I mean, this team, they're on the verge, middle of the season, right? And they're kind of starting to put plans into place to make Travis Hunter the focal point of this offense after the bye week, and he goes down. So what do? At the deadline, they go get Jacoby Myers. And he's been the best thing that's happened to this team, I think, this season. I think that's fair to say. There's plenty of options. In terms of raw numbers, probably not, but in terms of what he means to Trevor Lawrence in this offense, the reliability factor, the maturity in the locker room, how he handles everything, I don't know why I didn't list him first, come to think of it.
And not only was it a great in-season acquisition, about 6 weeks later, they said, we got to keep this guy. And they paid him a 3-year deal. And you look at the future, a young, talented, all under contract receiving core for Trevor Lawrence to throw to. This could be a nucleus for the rest of this decade, quite frankly, for what they have going in Jacksonville.
What did Keith Jackson say about Peyton Manning's first start? Get used to it.
Very quickly, any concerns, physically or otherwise, hosting Tennessee Sunday?
Oh, defensive front for Tennessee. Simmons has 10 sacks, leads the league in quarterback pressures. He's a problem. Him and Sweat. It was a problem last time. They couldn't run at him. So you got to run wide on him. And they should be able to carve up the secondary because they stink on the back end in Tennessee. So but the real thing, defensive front for Tennessee, return game with DK. And the mobility of Ward a little bit, but they feel like, I mean, the way the defense is playing right now, if they stop the run, they feel like they can handle Ward.
Yeah, you went through all those guys on the offense. Strange to me coming back at tight end has meant a ton to what they are. It's been done by the sum of the parts, not any one individual, and that should make them a tough out. And the defense creating turnovers and doing all the things they do. JP, get through this week. It may be a very interesting January, my friend.
Yeah, we'll see. It's funny because the Jaguars can be any seed in the AFC except the 4 seed, depending on what goes on this weekend. That's still out there, which is crazy. But it feels like the 3 seed's kind of going to be where they land if they can get the win this week, right? And then host a playoff game next week. And here we go.
JP Shadrick, Jags Radio Network, Westwood One Radio Network, Touchdown Radio Network. Follow him on X at JP Shadrick, Shadrick. 5 seconds.
Panthers, Bucks tomorrow, Westwood One.
Look at that. He's working.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Listen, you guys know, if you've watched and listened to us over the years, we don't duck a lot of questions. I can honestly say, if I had an NFL Coach of the Year vote this year, I have no flipping idea what my ballot would look like. There are like 6 coaches who, if they won Coach of the Year, how could you not go, oh yeah, that's deserved? I mean, you could, if Seattle wins tomorrow night, I mean, Sean Payton, Mike McDonald, but between Ben Johnson, Mike Vrabel, Liam Cohen, I mean, what if the Niners win tomorrow night? Kyle Shanahan?
I was going to say, you didn't mention Shanahan. And
Yeah, I mean,
he is deserving of Coach of the Year this year. Extremely deserving. If they get the one with all of the injuries, everything they've gone through, and I don't know if he'll finish top 3 in Coach of the Year votes, David.
yeah, I mean, that's 6 guys we just mentioned. Right now, the 1 seeds are Seattle and Denver. So, you know, you got to consider McDonald and Peyton. Okay. But Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, Kyle Shanahan, Mike Vrabel.
The Irish goodbye is not saying goodbye to anyone and just leaving.
Right.
Tim.
You just disappear.
You just disappear. Moulton's pretty good at it.
I did it at the production, the staff party Wednesday night at after the Sun Bowl. Sonny, here's the thing that a whole generation of fans don't understand about, and you're talking about seeing Jimmy Johnson on the stage at the Cotton Bowl. It wasn't just Michael Irvin being there. He lives there. Okay, Jimmy came back. Well, he's got a lot of connections to Dallas, but that was cool. Okay, but him and Mario are fairly tight. But to me, it's when you saw Edgerrin James there. It's New Year's Eve. He's got 4 kids. Okay. His longtime, girlfriend, okay, she died. He's raising those kids by himself. And where was he? In Dallas. Okay. That whole blood brotherhood of the Canes from like 83 to 02, people don't understand. And that to me was awesome. I'm like, oh my God, they are back.
So Edge's nephew is playing for Minnesota. Went to Naples. He's a cornerback. The kid's dad works for friends of mine. Both Georgia and Miami wanted him. Offers were made. Apparently, you can make offers even though a kid's at school somewhere else. Shocking, I know. Minnesota matched the NIL money of Georgia and Miami to keep him for a DB. He getting paid, by the way.
Good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The dad still works hard for my two buddies. Hard manual labor, tough job. And there's lots of kids in the family. So I'm rooting for this young man. But it's I was stunned because I thought for sure I knew he was at Minnesota. Like, he gone.
Very quickly.
Don't have time.
Okay.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Home stretch on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
The first such one of 2026. We're through the quarterfinal round. We're down to the semis. In college football, there are some bowl games, though, including 4 of them today. FCS championship game, by the way, is Monday. I actually think they should be playing it today. But the FCS title game in Nashville is Monday. So there are other college football games besides just the 2 semis and the title game. And obviously, the final week of the NFL regular season kicks off with a double dip tomorrow. Both of the games on ABC/ESPN. 4:30 Carolina, Tampa Bay. 8:15 Seattle, San Francisco.
You want to go through these NFL games?
Yeah, because I don't think there's going to be a lot of upsets. We could
No,
probably do
we
it
both
quickly.
picked Carolina. We probably, I should have paid attention there, but are you picking them to win outright? Because we both took them plus the 3. I'm guessing
Yeah.
you're picking them outright. All right.
Yeah,
We do differ because I'm taking San Francisco. You're taking Seattle, right?
correct.
Green Bay at Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Jordan-
Tennessee.
Jordan Love's not going to play, and Willis is banged up. And apparently it's very important to the Vikings for them to win, because wouldn't they finish the season with like a 5-game winning streak?
Right, and the Lions could end up finishing in last if they lose to the Bears. Tennessee at Jacksonville. I think we're both taking the Jags.
Yeah, I was tempted to lay the big points, but I stayed away.
Indy at Houston. I think we're both taking Houston, right?
Yeah, I think I would have given the Colts more of a fighting chance if Phillip Rivers was playing, but it's going to be Riley Leonard for sure. So give me Houston.
I'm taking the Giants at home against Dallas. What about you, David?
Oh, I was going to take them. I'm terrified. I do not want to end up with the 6th overall pick of this draft. The Giants don't beat the Cowboys lately, so give me the Cowboys.
Cleveland at Cincinnati. Cincinnati will once again win the game and be the best team not to have made the playoffs. Whatever.
By the way, I think we both love Joe Burrow, right? I mean,
Yes.
what is it we said for the last handful of years? It's always good to have a Vasilevsky and a Joe Burrow. But, man, he is going through some internal emotional turmoil. This losing thing is eating him up. I mean, he walks to the microphone one day, he's fun-loving, he's got stories. You go to the next day, he wants out of Cincinnati. I mean, or he wants half the roster and most of the front office blown up. I mean, I find this fascinating, whether or not something happens this offseason, because he ain't happy. He's going through
He's
hell.
not. Who are you taking?
Oh, we're both taking Cincy.
New Orleans, Atlanta. The game that Tampa may need to pay attention about if Miller and Moulton are wrong. I'm taking Kirk Cousins. Give me Atlanta.
Atlanta's got the best roster in the division. They really do. Give me Atlanta, and I think because of it, they keep Raheem.
Miami.
I'm curious. I'm sorry, very quickly. I'm curious what role Matt Ryan gets. Okay, is he going to be the president? Is he going to be above Rich McKay and the general manager? Is he going to be the president in which he only answers to the owner, or is he going to be just part of the front office? I'll be very curious about that.
That is interesting because, Rich McKay's got a lot of power there.
Uh-huh.
And in the league. And boy, talk about, you always talk about Petiti and Sankey not wanting to give up power. Rich McKay's got a lot of power in the NFL.
Yep. What's his face there? Goodell likes to keep him close. And Arthur Blank. I mean, Rich McKay is the one who said no to Belichick in Atlanta.
New England and Miami, I think we're both taking the Pats.
Yep.
Arizona and the Rams, my guess is we're both taking the Rams.
Let me tell you, though, boy, are they banged up. And McVay wants to turn this around because they've lost 2 in a row. He wants to go into the playoffs with a little mojo, but they have a lot of injuries. They're going to beat Arizona, but they are banged up.
You already took Chicago and laid the 3. I agree with you. They beat Detroit. Washington and Philadelphia, the Eagles will win, right?
What worries me about this is I know Washington's going to play hard, and I wonder if the Eagles players, look at the scoreboard, because only if Chicago loses does Philly have something to play for. Otherwise, they're locked into the 3. I'm not so sure that Philly doesn't mail one in Sunday. I'll take Philly, but I actually think there's a chance of an upset there.
All right. Jets and Buffalo, you're taking the Bills.
Yes, even though I don't know if it's been announced, I don't think Josh Allen plays, but I would think it's going to be very emotional. It's the last home game in that stadium, and they're unlikely to get a home playoff game. So I think it'll be a very emotional atmosphere. And right now, Mark, aren't the Jets the worst team in the league?
Yes, they are. KC at Las Vegas. I'm going to take the Chiefs. I'm not so sure about this one. And I think you are. You already said you're taking the Chiefs, right?
No, I haven't, because I've taken Vegas in the 5.5. God, the Chiefs have such a better roster. I gotta believe they'll win, but man, I don't know. They're not playing hard. I'll take Kansas City, but I'm not excited about it.
Chargers aren't playing anyone, so we'll both take Denver. And I'm taking Baltimore and laying the 3.5. You took the points with Pittsburgh. Who do you have winning it?
I know I shouldn't do this because these two teams almost always split, but I'm going to go Steelers. This may sound crazy. I'm not sure Lamar playing is a good thing for Baltimore.
So we differ on 3. I will need to win all of them to win the series title. David is up 2 heading into the final week of straight up picks in the NFL. We made our picks against the number earlier. David would have to win all of his games in every single NFL playoff game and the rest of the college football playoffs to have a shot at getting to 500. I don't think there's enough games remaining where he could do it.
Oh, no, there's definitely not enough. I mean, if I went 5-0 this week, if I got the 3 remaining college playoff games right, that's 8-0. There's 13 NFL playoff games. If I go 21-0, Mark, I'll still finish 2 games below 500.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. It's been a rough year.
Whew.
So hopefully, for a lot of reasons, Miller and Moulton are hoping 2026 is better than 2025, certainly when it comes to picking games against the spread.
Mark, if 2026 for me is not better than 2025 in picking games, I will stop making picks against the number.
David,
going forward.
I know that's what you want to do. And again, anybody who's listened to us, we've been doing this for damn near 20 years. We are not a heavily produced show. In fact, we're barely a produced show. I will make an executive decision as one half of the brain trust of this show and let you know that, yes, you will make picks against the number. There are people out there who are putting their kids through college by going the other way against your pick.
So this is a half public service. And if I do this for another year, we've got to be able to get a sponsor, right?
Absolutely.
Of course, Waste Management might be the sponsor, but that's okay.
You know what? I may call them later. That's a hell of an idea. For Waste Management or anybody else that would like to jump aboard the Miller and Moulton train in 2026, it's sure to be a hell of a ride. We'll finish the day off and start the new year off the way we always do. Today was the day when the good, the bad, and the ugly, and what's on tap. It's next, Miller and Moulton. American Paint Supplies. For nearly 30 years, one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I don't know if you guys can hear me, but left Twix, I don't think Texas and Oklahoma regret it at all. It's made them a ton more money. Not that Texas needed it, but no, they've each made the playoffs. No.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
$22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
First such edition of 2026. Only got a handful of them left with the football season winding down. Oh, say it ain't so.
You can tell, even though David has more football work to do with this week in a playoff game, I can tell he's already starting to, he always pays attention to other stuff, but I can tell he's ready. When he told me during the break he might go check out a college basketball game tonight.
Yeah. And in fact, I think it's one of our system plays.
Yes, it is. We'll get to that in a moment. But first,
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
All right, before we get to this, I've got another day off that I have to take next week. So when I was gone last week, or earlier this week, rather, I made sure David had all the information for these segments done ahead of time. He's got enough to worry about with the show than my little stuff that we do here at the end. And I went all out because I got a new computer during the week while I was gone. And as I was setting it up, I said, probably would be smart to do Today Was the Day When on a Google Doc so that I can just share that with David. And if I'm gone, it's easy for him to access it. So I did. David, of course, took it upon himself to edit my segment.
Well, when you put it like that.
When you're doing it yourself, you can edit all you want if I'm not here. When I'm here, I've already done the work. In fact, start sending me the starting five. I'll cut out the WNBA scores. We start in 1788. Georgia, number 4. They ratified the Constitution today. One of the things David omitted was today in 1832, a sport near and dear to my heart. The first curling club in the United States opens, the Orchard Lake Curling Club. How could we ever live without knowing that information? The first photograph of the moon was taken today in 1839. Unfortunately, it was lost 2 months later when the laboratory of the photographer burnt to the ground. Happy day for Florida, even though we didn't know it today in 1906. Willis Carrier received a patent for an apparatus for treating air, the world's first modern air conditioner. Charlie Ebbets purchased some land. He built Ebbets Field there. Bought it in 1912. The stadium opened in 1913. It takes a little longer now. Let's see. 8th Rose Bowl today. I just brought it up because of the teams that played in it. It was a 0-0 tie today in 1922 between Cal and their opponent, Washington and Jefferson. The first state liquor stores opened today in Pennsylvania in 1934, and good to know they still use state liquor stores there now, making it absolutely impossible to get a deal on booze in Pennsylvania. Kentucky would begin a 129 home game winning streak in hoop today in 1943. It would end in 1955. They'd win 3 titles in that span.
12 years they didn't lose a home game.
JFK announced his candidacy for presidency today in 1960. Namath signed with the Jets today in 65. $427,000 over 3 years. It was a pro football record at the time.
Trivia question. Mark, you know it. But which NFL team had his draft rights that he spurned to sign with the AFL's Jets? The St. Louis Cardinals.
Today in 66, the last game before the Super Bowl era, the Packers beat the Browns for the NFL title. It was the first title game televised in color. Today in 72, the Dolphins shut out the Colts, 21 spit for the AFC Championship. 77, Bowie Kuhn suspends Ted Turner for 1 year for tampering charges and trying to get Gary Matthews signed. 1982, in one of the great playoff games of all time, in the hot Miami sun, the San Diego Chargers defeat the Dolphins 41-38 in overtime in a divisional game.
The game was so great that a handful of years ago, the Dolphins asked everybody that they basically had on a mailing list to vote for greatest game in Dolphins history. And Dolph fans voted that game, a playoff loss, as the greatest game in franchise history.
Mike Bossy scored .499 and 500 today for the Islanders in a win over the Bruins. He would be the 11th to score 500 goals, doing so today in 1986. Today in 1987, the Pacers beat the Clippers, whatever. But it gave Jack Ramsey, who was a longtime friend of this show, the late Jack Ramsey, his 800th victory. At that time, only 2 coaches had reached that milestone, the other one being Red Auerbach. Penn State takes down Miami today in 87 in the Fiesta Bowl, 14-10.
I was there.
Covered Penn State, right?
Yep, absolutely. I just turned 21.
89, Notre Dame beats West Virginia in the Fiesta Bowl for the Natty. Today, and also in 89, Miami would beat Nebraska, Florida State would beat Auburn, and Michigan would beat Southern Cal. Those were the bowl games all lined up. Fiesta, Orange, Sugar, and Rose.
What was that Nebraska one?
Miami beat Nebraska 23-3 in the Orange. They would have won the title had Notre Dame not beat West Virginia. Colorado wins their Natty today in 91. Nebraska beats Florida in a rout in the Fiesta today in 96, 62-24. Today in 2000, the American Airlines Arena had its first NBA game. The Heat would beat the Magic by 8. And it was today, just 2 years ago, David, that Damar Hamlin collapsed and was revived basically on national television on that Monday Night Football game.
Was that 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
3 years ago. I'm sorry. See, I already did it. I've got 25 in my head. 3 years ago. First mistake of the new year with adding incorrectly.
Just say this, speaking for myself and only myself, because there was very little chatter going on in the booth. I thought he was going to die. We had a tight camera on the men performing CPR on him, and this one guy did 3 minutes. 3 minutes All right. And then somebody else had to take over. And he turned and looked at the person next to him and shook his head no. And I'm like, oh my goodness, he's going to die. Thank God he didn't.
Roger Miller, king of the road. Sweet Pea, Pernell Whitaker, and Tommy Morrison would have all celebrated birthdays today. TV evangelist Jim Baker's 87 years old today. Jack Hanna, the zoo guy that was on Letterman, 79. Craig James is 65. David Cohn and Edgar Martinez are both 63 today. Cuba Gooden Jr., 58. Fernando Tatis, 27. And hockey player, and probably, next group of U.S. guys that would have made, or of Canadian guys that would have made an Olympic team. Cole Caulfield's 25 today. What did I miss, David?
No, I think you got everything, to be honest with you.
Good.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, we go to New Jersey and to a Walmart in New Jersey. Three things together that are never in the same sentence, usually. Good, New Jersey, and Walmart. But a wallaby named Rex escaped from its farm. It was captured at a New Jersey Walmart. Apparently, the wallaby was there with its owner near a barn, and when it escaped, it went back to the Walmart. How can you blame it? For the bad, we go to the gritty streets of Estero, where FHP had to arrest a father-son duo who were doing a $120 down Corkscrew Road.
Whoa!
Corkscrew's 45. The driver of the car, Brad Roberts, and his 14-year-old son were both arrested.
Oh, man.
They finally used a pit maneuver to get the car to stop. Both ran away. The elder Roberts was knocked down with a stun gun. They found the son hiding behind Publix. In the car, weed, shotguns, ammunition, and a little cocaine residue. Happy New Year. And finally, the ugly, we go to the subways in New York City, where apparently the transit authority is answering some questions today because the new gates are causing a problem. Apparently, a young child got his head stuck in the gate around 1 p.m.
No, that's a problem.
The child's mother said the 5-year-old daughter got her head stuck between the doors of the new fare gate. A bystander helped get her out. The other kids were on the other side screaming while the 5-year-old girl had her head stuck in the gate. Fortunately, everyone's okay. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Here on January the 2nd, 2026, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Hiring new officers, great pay, other jobs available. All information can be had at
CapeCops.com. That's CapeCops.com. Boy, the new mayor was on the job an hour before that ended up on his desk. Welcome to Gracie Mansion, sir. Don't worry, it's going to get a lot more hectic than this. By the way, the only thing, I don't think you had it. I thought of it when you were talking about the father-son doing a $120 down Corkscrew. Was Nixon today in 74 the national speed limit? It up until 1974, states could just kind of set their own on all the roads. Nixon, for fuel conservation, came up with the national speed limit of 55 miles an hour on federal highways.
Thank goodness it's not that anymore. I mean,
Right.
Do you remember, David, when you were going 64, going, that's about as fast as I can go?
Right?
I'll get
Same.
popped if I.
Yep.
And for me, it was basically when I was still on the parents' insurance. And if I'd have gotten a ticket at 64, Dad would have been, all right, I'm ticked, but whatever. Anything above that, I was going to get the hammer from Fred. Now, you do 64 on I-75, they'll run you down.
I was going to say, you better be in the right-hand lane, slowing down to be getting off an exit soon.
4 bowl games today. As the college football silly season is about done. Rice and Texas State. Texas State, 17.5-point favorite. Navy and Cincy. Navy's a 7.5-point favorite. Mississippi State, a 3.5-point favorite over Wake Forest. And Arizona is a 1.5-point dog against SMU.
Those last 2 games are tonight. Wake and Mississippi State. The Duke's Mayo Bowls on ESPN at 8 o'clock Eastern. Arizona SMU is the Holiday Bowl. That's on Big Fox at 8 p.m. Navy Cincy are playing in the Liberty Bowl at 4:30 today. Rice, Texas State's at 1 o'clock in the Armed Forces Bowl.
Bunch of NBA games tonight. Orlando, who's been reeling lately, they're on the road in Chicago. They're a 5.5-point favorite.
Yeah, the Bulls haven't been that good either. The Amazon doubleheader. By the way, NBA ratings are up with the new TV deal. Denver, Cleveland early, OKC, Golden State late. 8 o'clock tonight, Turner, Rangers, Panthers in the Winter Classic where the Marlins play.
One system play for college basketball folks out there. David's in the area. Louisville on the road. They're a 9.5-point favorite at Stanford. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again Monday morning, 6 a.m., Miller and Moulton. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With real cards and real dealers 24/7, this is the place where the action never ends. Now you can bet on your favorite team, roll the dice on craps, or spin the wheel for roulette. We've got your game. Plus, the Zigzag Girls Blackjack Pit features nonstop excitement and free drinks while you play. This is Seminole Casino Hotel, minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 to play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WILD.
This is Miller and Moulton